Today is going to be a good day. Yesterday was a good day. And what I have to say today is the advertisement for the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra phone is not accurate at all. It says, and it shows you in their advertisement, that you can take that phone and put it underneath 1 meter of water and leave it there for half an hour, and then take the phone out of the water, and then all the functions of the phone will work. And that part of the advertisement is true. However, what is never told, in all the commercials and all the advertisements and all the videos I've ever watched, I've never seen anybody follow up with using the phone after they take it out of the water. It's just they take it out of the water and they touch the screen and everything works fine. Well, it doesn't work like that. Well, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so I've had this Samsung Galaxy S21 phone for about 5 weeks. It's a great phone, and it has great clarity, takes fantastic pictures, and the video or live streaming is excellent on the phone. However, the one thing that never did I test, nor did I want to test, was to see if it was waterproof. Because in the Philippines, we don't have the option for insurance for our phones. So if your phone breaks, you have two options. You can pay the dealer to repair your phone at whatever the rate would be to do that, or you could throw the phone out. But that's your only two options. So I didn't want to get it wet. So 5 days ago, I guess it was, about 5 days ago, I was working up on the roof. And we won't talk about the weathermen that they get paid to lie to us in the Philippines. For 10 days it was supposed to rain, and it never rained. And one day it was sunny, although it was overcast, and it happens here all the time. And then within 45 seconds, it was raining about as hard as it can rain. Wouldn't be typhoon rain, but it was raining hard. And I had the camera on my little stand that I have it on now, and I said, well, you know what? We're going to find out if this thing is really waterproof. So I was cutting lumber with a chainsaw in the rain, and I took the camera and brought it over to where the lumber was and set it back about 5 feet. I was cutting a board out from underneath a jet ski, and I set it back about 5 feet, and the camera was working, and then the chainsaw ran out of gas. You know, not a lot of people have owned boats or barges or cranes or tugboats, but the expression, when it rains, it pours, it's so true, because when one thing fails, sometimes many things fail after that. So I went downstairs to get gas for the chainsaw, and by the time I came up, the chainsaw had gotten wet where it wouldn't start, so the gas didn't help that. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to end the live stream. And I waited a few more minutes and ended the live stream. So I took the phone in the house, and I knew better than to plug it in. Because there's a port on the end of the plug. Now, I'll show you that. I have a picture on the screen of where the port is. And, well, the tree just took a crap on my roof. It does that. That's why I wear a hard hat up there. So I'll show you that port. And this is what I'm talking about. At the end of the phone is a charging port. It's called the C port. C is in Charlie, and that's where the speaker is. So when something gets wet, especially a small cavity like that, water is going to stay in there, even if you shake it, because there are, as it turns out, underneath my high-powered magnifying glass that I have out in the shop, there's a 5-pin. There's 5 pins in that charging port. And I can show you. This is the male version of it. Now I don't know what you could see, but inside that are 5 pins, 5 little brass pins. So even if you shook it out, understanding that it was still pouring outside, the humidity was 100% in here and outside, you can't put the phone back on charge because there's going to be water in there. There's guaranteed there's going to be water in there. So the only way that you could put the phone back on charge is to dry that out, and you can do that with a hair blower. Now, the old concept that my friend John Escape said, it's in the title, Bob. Can you read? It's in the title of the live stream, it's in the title of my notice that I sent out. 74,000 pesos, Bob. Does that make a difference about water? Or are you just checking on something? Do you want to buy one? So it has nothing to do with with water going into the port, Bob. Try to stay on point. I looked at a couple of your comments that went into spam. You have a tendency to not stay on point, and you have a tendency to say some pretty egregious shit that would get me in trouble if I posted it. So try not to do that, please. Thank you. So John Escape said put it in rice. Now, I'm a firm believer in rice. I know that rice absorbs moisture, but only if rice is dry, and only if. And I don't believe in that rice concept that much, because rice also has rice dust and rice particles in there, and those dust and those rice particles will go into those 5 brass wires, or 5. They're 5 fingers. There's 5 fingers in there, and when you slide the male plug onto the female plug, they lock in place. So rice would put a foreign object debris in there. You don't want foreign object debris in your charging port. And that is eventually what I had to fix, because what happened was the rain from the phone being under the tree brought pollen or dust down from the tree, and it went into the charging port. So even though I dried it out, I didn't use rice, and I didn't have any absorbent material. There's a material that we used to get out of the crated aircraft engines, the old when they came in sealed in a sealed in a giant steel drum. They had these blue crystals, and when they were blue, they would absorb moisture. When they were yellow, silica gel, it's called. When they were yellow, they would not absorb moisture. You had to put them in a toaster oven, like 200 degrees, until they turned blue again. And you could use them. I've had them for 40 years. I have bags of it out in the shed. So the foreign object debris from the tree got into the plug, and when I dried it, I used a heat lamp. I have 3 different types of heat lamps. I used a heat gun with a blower, but not close up to the phone. The heat gun that I have is for shrink wrapping, putting shrink wrap on boats, and melting PVC pipe. So I knew it was dry, and I came back in the house, and when I plugged it in, it set off an alarm, kind of like a car alarm, where there was a siren, a beeping noise, loud too, a siren, a beeping noise, and an alarm, like a whoop whoop alarm. And it said on the phone, there is foreign object debris, or there is a foreign object in your charging port. Remove the charger immediately, or it will destroy the phone. So I unplugged it. I mean, it was almost as if, like, when you're just standing outside and the police turn on the siren, and you get startled. You're on a bicycle and the police go by you and they turn the siren on. Well, it was loud like that. So now I thought at first there was still water in there, and I said, nah, that can't be water. I heated that thing up properly. So you can't see the dust. You couldn't see the dust that was stopping the connection from being made. But I had a very... Now, you can go on YouTube, and they will tell you that if it's not charging, to take a toothbrush. Now, I wouldn't use a stiff bristle toothbrush. I would do not use a stiff bristle toothbrush, because a stiff bristle toothbrush is stronger or more firm than the wires that are inside the plug itself. So I have a box of brushes, everything from a floor scrubbing brush down to a finest camel hair brush that you can possibly imagine. This is an example of one of the brushes that I used. This is a makeup brush, but it's very fine bristles. But I didn't want to put that in there because it would bend the bristles. But I did try it, and I said, nah, let me go get another brush. So I got a brush that I use for just cleaning parts, metal parts and things like that. And this is what is a fine bristle brush. So I can show you how to and where I put it. So basically, the port looks like this. Now, what you don't want to do when you put this in there, you don't want to put anything. This is the finest bristle toothbrush. It's called the soft bristle. You don't want to jam it in there too hard. You just want to go in there, in and out, lightly. Because the metal, the 5 bars in the male and the 5 bars in the females, they mate with each other. M-A-T-E, they mate with each other. They sister up next to one another on top and bottom. They mate with each other. You don't want to push it in there and jam it. You'll bend those little brass bars. And then at that point, you'll need a new plug, unless you have tools that even I don't have. I would need to have a, well, I think I might have those tools. You'd basically be working with stuff the size of a, I'd probably have to flatten out a hairpin on my anvil, and then try to bend that plug over. But you'd still need to have a high intensity light, which I have, but you'd also have to have, I have a 7 power magnifying glass with a light on it. So you just want to go in and out, easy back and forth, like that. Not hard. If you jam it in there and one of these bristles gets stuck on one of those wires, and then you pull it out, you know how like Velcro sticks sometimes, like, well, Velcro's supposed to stick. It sticks because the ends of the male Velcro stick into the female Velcro. If you jam it into that hole really hard and it gets hung up on the back of one of those little bars that made up, you'll have to bring, if you do it on the phone side, you'd have to bring it in and get a new plug. You can't do that. It would be really hard for even me to do it. And I have the tools and I know how to do it, but I don't have a microscope with a light on it, like, So if you, when you do put that in there, just put it in very lightly, and just go back and forth 1/8 of an inch. Then you take it out. Now, of course, you would use a hair blower or a little, you could use a little blower that they blow off the lenses off of cameras. The old little blower had a little ball on it. You could use one of those. I have high pressure air in the shop set up with high pressure air. So when I first dragged it, when I first pushed the toothbrush against there, I put it on a piece of paper. I put it on a piece of paper. Let's just say this was paper. And I took the end of the phone and I tapped it on this white paper that I have. Just regular sheet of white loose leaf. And nothing came out. But I knew there was something in there because from the light and the magnifying glass, I could see, instead of looking like 5 fingers, it looked like 3 fingers, and 2 of them were together because there was a foreign object debris between, say, number 4 and 5. It was on the end. But it didn't come out the first time I put the toothbrush in there. And I knew there were 5 because I looked inside this C plug. There's 5 wires in there. And they're all separated by an equal space. And the reason for that is so that you can use the plug from either direction. You can use it like this, or you could rotate it 180 degrees and use it like that. So I had to do this little job with the brush. Oh, I probably did it 8 or 10 times before I dislodged that piece of debris. So now that debris would have also held a certain amount of water on it, theoretically, from what is called capillary action, because the 2 pieces were together. The water would want to stay between those 2 pieces. It would fold into those pieces there. It's called capillary action. So I doubt that it was still wet, but apparently it was preventing the phone. So that's one thing that you have to do. You have to dry out that port And then, if it still doesn't work, the next thing to do is to get a very fine bristle toothbrush and a hair blower, of course, to dry it out. Now, if you don't have a hair blower, I don't know that I'd put it in the toaster oven. I don't think I would do that. But I would put it on top of the toaster oven, on top of a piece of tin foil, and let it get warm inside there. You don't want to put it in the toaster oven because, well, you could forget. The toaster oven gets really hot inside. It'll melt something. It might even pop off the Gorilla Glass. So those are your two options. You dry it off, or you take a toothbrush and dry it off, and you still have to blow with pressure. Not your mouth, because you're going to have saliva coming out of your mouth. So you have to have a clean air source. Now, you can buy that in the department store, bottled air. You know, it's like it comes in a can. It's like, looks like a beer can with a spray nozzle on it, or a can of anything with a spray nozzle on it. High pressure air. I should have that anyway, but the one I had, I emptied out years ago from my cameras. So it's not exactly waterproof. My point is, the camera's not exactly waterproof. Now, if you were to take the camera from the outside, now, and we're going to talk about salt water in a minute, 'cause that's a whole different thing. You do not, you don't want to put your phone in salt water. I'll tell you why, but you could believe it or not, you don't want to do that. Even though it shows you people doing that, that's not Samsung. They're not going to tell you can put it in salt water. You don't want to plug the phone in after you take it out of the ring, because that alarm will go off. So it's an alarm, it's a siren, it's a beeping, and it's a white screen with black, very clear black letters. Foreign object discovered in port. It was only on for 1/10 of a second. In charging port. Disconnect charger immediately. I mean, it's clear as day. Don't do that. Now, a bigger problem would be what happened next. So after the alarm went off, I only had 1% of battery left. So that disappeared within a few minutes. Then I cleaned it out, and then after I got the debris out of it, I had to plug the charger in, and it would not charge. It just refused to charge. Period. The charger was charging because I used it on something else. The charger was charging, but the phone would not charge. Like, in other words, it showed you, it has a round circle with a lightning bolt in it. It showed that part of the charger. So now there's another process that you have to do. There's a volume button and an on-off switch on the phone. Let's see if we can get you a picture of that. Samsung, let's go back. Samsung pictures, charging port. There's two buttons. Okay. Samsung volume, V-O-L-U-M-E. Okay, I'll show you the two buttons if it allows me, if it'll let me show you them. Okay, here they are, right here. Okay, so here's the two buttons on the side. Right there. So there's two buttons. One is a longer button, that's the volume control, and the bottom button is an on and off button. So that the phone wouldn't charge. No matter how many times I plugged the charger in and out, it showed me that the charger was hooked up, but it wouldn't charge. What I did was I held down both buttons for more than 15 seconds. More than 15 seconds. And apparently when you do that, it reprograms the phone to take a charge. So for whatever reason, maybe because of the foreign object in the charging port, for whatever reason, the phone disconnected or shut off its charging ability. So by with the charger in the phone, holding those two buttons down for longer than 15 seconds, because up until 15 seconds, nothing happened at all. The phone just stayed black screen. After 15 seconds, the charging circle appeared and showed you a percentage of how much it was charged, which was 0%. Before that, all there was a circle with a lightning bolt in it. So that was how I cleared up that problem. So that's two problems that occur when the phone gets wet. If you try to put your charger in when the phone is wet, or there's an object in it, it shuts off your charging ability, so you can't do it twice. The alarm won't go off twice. Now, the third thing that you never want to do is you don't want to put this phone in salt water. I know that people do it. Those would be people like myself that have an understanding of salt water and what it will do to metal in a short work. You can take a brand new piece of cold rolled steel and leave it in Traverse City, Michigan, which I had a lot of property for a very long time up there. And you could leave that steel or a car or a motorcycle on the side of the house for 100 years, or a tractor, and it would stay there for 100 years. You put that same tractor or car or motorcycle in front of my house here, and it'll disappear in 30 years. It'll just rust. So, salt water in that charging port, it may not go into the phone. It will not go into the phone. But it will, after you dried off, if you took a hair blower and dried the salt water out of the hole, you think you're good to go. That's just day one of the destruction of your charging port. You would have to, after you take it out of salt water, really douse it down with fresh water and then dry it off. But if you're at the beach or you go swimming with it and it gets wet and it dries off, you put it in the sun and it dries off, and you leave that salt in your charging port, then it will eventually move over to the charging port on the phone is a female. It'll eventually move over to the male port, the male pin, and it will oxidize those five little brass bars in there. And then you'll have to bring it, and now it won't go in the phone. It still won't go in the phone, not inside the phone, but it will oxidize those brass plugs to the point where they'll get brittle and they'll break, and you'll have to bring your phone in for servicing. Now, I don't know how long it would take for it to do that. In theory, they use a bronze tangs or rakes or plug. In theory, they should use a bronze plug, not copper. Copper would dissolve within a few days. Those the size of that. If they use a high quality, then you'll get many uses in salt water out of it, but you're still going to destroy the phone. So you don't want to use it in salt water. And if it did get wet in salt water, you got to douse it in fresh water. I mean, submerge it, shake it around, get the air bubble out of the get the air bubble out of the female part of the plug, and then make sure, wring it out, get fresh water in there again, even pour fresh water in there, and then blow it with a hairdryer. And don't let the hairdryer get too close to the phone. Some of those hairdryers get hot enough to damage. There's a seal around the plug, and the hairdryer might bring up the temperature enough to damage the seal. Certainly a hairdryer close enough to the phone for a long enough period of time will melt the phone. Don't make any mistake about that. It's just plastic. And that's what I have to say about the Samsung not being waterproof and being waterproof. And for the price that you pay for it, if you don't have a warranty on it, the case that John Escape is sending me, I called him up, told him don't send the case because the phone is dead. Unless you want me to bury the phone in the case, I'll have a little funeral for it. But then I figured out what it was. So, I don't know. That's my Samsung Galaxy story. And that's it for today. I'm going to go outside. It's yesterday I didn't blog. I went to let's see what I did yesterday. I woke up. Yesterday there was another food drive. I had to go to the municipality to do some to speak with the one of the engineers for the job. He wasn't in. He's never in. He's in the field, Mr. Fazio. Well, when will he be back? Well, we don't know, sir. He's in the field. So when he's not there, he's... this is going on for 2.5 years. He's in the field, or he went home to have lunch. I'm sure he's doing a lot of business. So anyway, so I went to see the engineer about a simple thing. I just notify him that I was going to start doing concrete work in a month or so. I don't have to do that. The permit is... that's the one good thing about the permits in the Philippines. They don't expire. In America, you have to renew your permit every 6 months or every year. Depends. In Florida Keys, we had to renew our permits every 6 months. So if I was clearing a big parcel of land that would take me, a lot of times I would clear 6 or 7, 8, 9, 10 acres by myself. And when I got it cleared, I'd bring in a company with a wood chipper, and the logs that were like 8-inch, 9-inch, 10-inch logs, 6-inch logs, that stuff I cut up into 16-inch pieces. That stuff I would put on the road. The thatch I would put someplace else. Now the roots, I the roots. I'm thinking of my mile marker 80. What was it? Mile marker 88, I think it was. I'm trying to get this right. Mile marker 88. There was 7 acres of land I cleared. I have videos of it on my channel. Now for that I brought in Tim Matthews Tree Service with his chipper. But some of the trees, I know this is off topic, it's one of my stories. So some of the trees were 8 feet, not necessarily in diameter, but they were called whispering pines. It is a junk tree. It is a garbage tree. whispering pines. It it just it grows unbelievably fast. It's like a weed, but it grows into a 60 or 70-foot tree in 8 or 9 years. But if there's a lot of them together, at the base they become one trunk. So there were about 80 trees that were bigger than 3 feet in diameter. You can't do much with a 3-foot diameter tree. And the job called for the job called for the removal of all the tree debris. So now it was my job underneath my contract, my insurance, my job. And I bid on the job, I think it was $52,000, because I was going to do it myself. So I don't really, it's just 6 months of work. And I knew I would just cut up those 3-foot logs. I'd slice them and dice them, and then I'd put the logs in front of the property as free firewood. I didn't want any money for it. I just cut them up, put them in front of the property for free firewood. But the root balls on some of those trees were, some of the trees where 2 or 3 trunks had melded together, they were like 15 feet in diameter and 6 foot thick. Okay? That's a big root ball. So you couldn't put them in the chipper. The thatch, Tim came in a couple of days. I had a pile of thatch, probably was 400 or 500 cubic yards piled up, from one corner of the property to the other. And it was all dry, so it chipped nice. Some of the stuff 4 or 5 inches we chipped up too, but the root balls, what am I going to do with a 15-foot root ball? So I went to the person that hired me, and I said to them, what are you going to build here? And they said, well, we're going to build a hotel. And I said, and can I see the plans? Do you have the plans? Because it was the same company that was the rental company was the same company that was building the hotel. And I was friends with the woman for about 15 years, so she said, sure. So I said to her, look, these root balls are going to be problematic. This area here, this is all going to be, just shrubbery in front of the hotel, right? Yes. And where are you putting the pool? So she told me the pool was back towards the ocean. So I said, but up here, here's the building. The building was on the west side and the south side. And the pool was on the east side and the north side of the property. It was on the east side where the sun comes up in the mornings, goes on the pool, and then the sun is on the pool all day, and then it goes over the hotel towards the west. And the pool had a definite size of 60 feet, whatever it was. But in front of the pool was just supposed to be parking lot and shrubs. This wasn't supposed to be anything. So I said to the woman, look, do you mind if I'll dig a hole? Because I had containers that I was starting to cut up the root balls, but one 30-yard container, one root ball. Because you couldn't cut it up, it had rocks in it, and it would dull the chainsaw right away, and you couldn't burn them because it wasn't allowed. So I said to the woman, I have a couple of root balls. I'm going to put them up in the parking area. I'll dig out a hole and put them in. Is that okay? She goes, sure. They'll rot anyway. No, they'll rot, yeah. in 100 years, those root balls will rot because they were saturated. The whispering pines, they grow in salt water, so inside the root is all salt. It's very salt. It'll grow right on the edge of a saltwater river, a pond, or lake. Ocean. So I dug a hole, and that hole was probably over 100 feet long, and it was 15 feet deep and 60 feet wide. It's like I said, there were 80 or 90 of those big trees, and there's 80 or 90 root balls. And I had the root balls piled up near the ocean. I wasn't going to throw them in the ocean, but that's where I had them piled up because there were no trees. It was a sandy beach. So then I dragged each root ball over to the hole and put it in there and maneuvered it around with the backhoe and piled them in there. So this hole was 60 feet wide and 100 feet long, and it fit most everything in there. And then from Tim and his wood chips, we had, God, I don't know how many, we must have had 500-600 cubic yards of wood chips. And we mixed that in with the dirt that I was putting back in the hole, and then I covered up the hole. And of course, there was close to 1,000 yards of extra material that the root balls took up, and I leveled out the property, and you couldn't tell because the property was not level when I started anyway. It was from the street elevation to the water. Well, at the water, it was at water's level, but at the street elevation, it was probably about 9.5, 10 feet. And I put those trees in there and then just leveled out all that dirt. And they came in and they said, wow, that was a nice job. And the woman knew what I did. She didn't care. She was going underneath the parking lot. So that happened in 2000 and, I don't know, if you go back and look at my videos, 2005, 2006, I don't know, it was somewhere around now. Could have been 2004, I don't remember. And so sometime, if you remember, we had the housing bubble where they destroyed the economy. So the hotel wasn't going to start being built for several years. So when I was leaving the Keys, in 2013, I had to go do an estimate down in Alamorada, and that property was on the old road. I have the address in the video. That property was on the old road, so I went past. They had a crane, a huge crane, like a 40 ton, 45, 50 ton crane with a 100-foot stick. Right where I put all those trees. Right where I put all those root balls. And the crane was taking the root balls out of the hole and putting them someplace else. So it wasn't my job. It was, I could have went on the property. I knew just about every contractor on the job, including the crane operator. But I didn't want to go on the job. It was the last place I wanted to be. So I called up the woman, and she said, she goes, did you see the root balls? I said, yeah. She goes, I said, what did you tell them? She says, I didn't tell them anything. Those root balls, you couldn't tell that those were my root balls. Those were just root balls. Those, like I said, those type of trees, those root balls will last 100 years without rotting. So she just told them that it's probably from the previous owner, because the trees, if after I cleared the lot, and you leave it alone for 10 years, those trees would be back. Now, I don't think they'd be 60 or 70 feet, but they weren't much more than 13, 14 years old, those trees. They grow huge. So she just told them those were not her root balls or my root balls. And we laughed, and that was that. So, I don't know how I got on that subject, but that was one of the things I did. And it was totally legal too. There's no law against burying roots. And the owner of the real estate company said, sure. She and I got along with each other 14 years. I did work for that real estate. In fact, she got me a big contract with one of the banks where I serviced all of their properties, which was a good contract because every 30 days I went in and serviced their property. Two banks. One at Mark 80, man, I forget. It's been 13 years, 12 years since I'm there. One was at mile marker 101, and one was at the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center in Alamorada. All right. Thanks for watching. Hope you had a good laugh. I did. Now I got to go outside. What was I got to go outside and do. So I didn't. So I went to what I did yesterday. Why I didn't go? Because you'll hear stories. He's not on YouTube. He's got strikes. And somebody has been flagging the shit out of my videos. I wonder who that could be. I got a not a strike, a notice of removal. I'll read it to you. That guy is such a piece of human fecal tissue with arms and legs. He has not stopped going. Yesterday I heard a video with his voice going, there's a guy that has the time to go through everybody's video word for word. So what has he been doing? He's been going through all my videos back as far as you could go back, and let me get this right here. And flagging shit. Now, I'll read you a couple of mails I got from YouTube. I don't think it's fair, but it's their platform, so they can do whatever they want. Okay, so YouTube notified everybody last week that if you have a channel and you don't have 1,000 subs or it's not monetized, YouTube has the right to monetize your videos. It's their platform. They could do what they want. I knew that 11 years ago when I started the channel. So nothing is new there. So this new mail, and I got 3 this week. So the garbage with arms and legs. Hi, Hoodwinked. We wanted to let you know our team reviewed your content, and we think it violates our hate speech policy. Come on, man. It was one of my best Obama videos. We know you may not have realized this was a violation to our policies, so we're not applying a strike to your channel. However, we have removed the following content from your YouTube. And this one, I'll show it to you. So this is like the 3rd one I got this week. Could you imagine that all this guy has to do all day is attack people? Hi, Hoodwinked. Massive immigration. Warning, strong cursing. Pedophile Pope Ratzenberger. And Obama best rant ever. So there's no strike, but I gotta tell you, one day, I gotta tell you, one day, I can't believe that somebody hasn't fixed that problem yet. I just, in the years that this guy is alive, and for all the nasty, mean, malicious shit he's done to people, I just find it hard to believe that somebody hasn't corrected that problem yet. 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 And so this guy is going through every single one of my videos. And then, now this is the third one that I got, I guess, within the last 2 weeks. So I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When YouTube changes their rules and terms of service, and your video was posted prior to their terms of service changing, they don't strike your channel. They just remove the content. Now that video, I have that video on a drive, so I'm not going to repost it just to piss them off. Then I'll get a strike. But you keep hearing these stories. Yeah, he's got a couple of strikes on his channel. You know, if that fuck, if somebody cracked him just once for every time he lied, probably within about 3 days he would say, this is not a good thing to lie. I mean, if, like, let's just say he lies, right? And he goes to the store to buy some turkey burgers, which are pure garbage. I was looking at videos about Jenny O turkey burgers, specifically Jenny O turkey chicken McNuggets, Jenny O turkey burgers. It is one of the worst. It has no nutritional value at all, but it's one of the worst foods with carcinogenics. But let's just say he lies and he goes to the store to go buy Jenny O turkey burgers, right? And he lied that day. Now, somehow, somebody in the store psychically or physically watches YouTube or psychically knew he lied, and the guy gets a smack. And every time he lied, somebody would walk past him without knowing him or without knowing what he lied about. They would smack him. Let me show you what would happen eventually. I don't really like to show this. It's a little bit of a private matter, but let me show you. So you got a picture. Every time the guy lies, ah, smack, right? You can't hit him. You can't hit him in the face. You'll knock his teeth out. You don't want to do that. But on the cheek, bap, on the cheek, bap, 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 bap. Oh, that reminds me, he's a clapper. All right, I shouldn't really mess. So let me show you what would happen eventually. I got a thing here that every time he lied, every time he lies, I gotta sit down for this. If I stand up for this, I'll laugh so freaking hard I'll drop it, and it's heavy. Every time the guy lies, every time somebody walks up and smacks him, bap, with a right-handed smack, bap. And now he's gonna. Every time he lied that day, he goes to the store. Every time he goes to buy turkey burgers, Tums. Tums. If you didn't eat shit, you wouldn't need Tums. So every time he goes to every time he leaves the house, if he lied now he lied about me having strikes on my channel. I don't have any strikes. That's a lie. So you got bat, like a bat. That's one right-handed smack, right? He also lied about the beach that I live on being not a white sand beach. It's rocky. He said it's rocky. He's a lying man. He's the liar. He's the ultimate liar. And then he lied about the rocks on the beach. So what does he get? Bap, right-handed smack. Right? Right hand, bap. You don't want to hit him with the left hand. That's for the more egregious shit that he says. So he lied about this beach being rocky. All right, so he lied about I had strikes. So that bap, and again another bap. So, and if he does two lies in the same day, the same person, woman, man, child, walked up, jumps up, smacks him on the left cheek with his right hand. What else did he lie? Oh yeah, you know, he lied. He said, God, I don't really want to say what he said, but he was talking about shabu and said I stick shabu into my rectum and that I do shabu. That's what he said. So now that's two, right? Pat, pat. Now I don't think he could take two good ones. I know damn well he couldn't take two good ones if I was getting the smacking action. I know that for a fact. So he lied. How does he come up with this shit? Now, he said that Schrodinger's kangaroo told him this. Okay? And theoretically, that is possible. Because Schrodinger's kangaroo comes up with some strange stuff. But he made it public that I occasionally take shabu. And I'm a lookout for a shabu deal. So that's two more, right? Pat, pat, pat. I gave him one for good luck. Eventually, this guy would stop lying, especially if I was smacking him. That would be the ultimate. Let me tell you something. I could smack him so hard he'd turn. I could smack him so hard if I was allowed to, that he'd see stars. Okay? Stars. Movie stars. The stars. He'd be looking up at the stars. He'd definitely be seeing those little things in front of your eyes that go like that when you get a good smack. You ever get a good smack? A good one. A good one will make you see stars. But if I was smacking him with my right hand, you know what would happen? Well, first of all, I'd end up in jail, of course. But let's say he lied about me doing shabu. He lied about me sticking shabu into my rectum. What sick piece of shit would lie about something like that? And the way he says it with such authority that it was factual. Now, if there was a box that you sat in and every time you lied you got a smack, a right-handed smack, eventually you'd get so fucking tired of getting smacked with the right hand that you'd be begging for a left-handed smack from the hand of God. Eventually, you'd lie enough and get smacked with the right hand that you'd be begging for a left-handed smack from God's hand. God smacks you with the left hand. God is a left-handed smacker. Eventually, he'd take so many smacks with a right hand that the left hand he'd be begging for the left hand of God to put him out of his misery, because that is probably what he needs more than anything else in the world, to be somehow subjugated to his own lies in some manner that he can see his wrongful ways in life. So eventually, enough right-handed smacks, he would be begging for the left hand of God to smack him down and end the misery that he lives in. The absolute agony and misery and disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Well, you know what I'm going to talk about. So, and could you imagine what goes through his mind when he looks in the mirror and smiles? Could you imagine the disgust when he realizes I'm such a liar? I am absolute. What purpose does he serve in life You know, he's been telling people, what, 6 months now, that he was going to show everybody, I can do this. He has never shown anybody even 1 minute of work, of 1 minute of him actually doing physical work. Because I think he's embarrassed of the way he works, his inability to work in a functional manner. And what has he done? He has never. Listen, here, I'm going to show you this freaking ruler here. You see this ruler? Ha! You see this ruler? Well, I built 2 houses with this ruler. Well, that's what he does. He shows you a paintbrush and tells you he painted a house. But he didn't show you him painting the house. How do we know it was him that painted the house? We don't. He may have. The man is so incompetent that he can't cut down a simple tree. Now, I just told you a story of 80 trees bigger than 3 feet in diameter that I, Michael Fazio, by myself, felled 80 trees bigger than 3 feet in diameter. Some of them were 6 and 7 and 8 feet in diameter, where I would have to cut for 4 or 5 hours to fell the tree. I did that by myself. And this clown couldn't cut down a teeny little tree because he's not capable of doing physical work. He says he is, but he's not. So another big thing. Oh yeah, you know, why is it that when that creepy little man had the opportunity to say something to my face, why is it that he crawled up into a ball like a little girl? Why did he do that? Why didn't he respond in kind to my offer? Why didn't he respond in kind? Let's go. Come on, let's go. Why didn't he? Because he's a coward. All he has is his mouth. And his mouth is writing checks that his body could never keep his whole life. This isn't something new. The man's a coward. The man is a liar. The man is weak, fragile. The man is an absolute ace at lying. And what does he hope for in life? See, some of us have achieved some semblance of success, owning things and doing stuff and traveling and things like that. And now our lives are somewhat satiated with where we are and what we're doing. Like, I don't mind going up on the roof and putting a new roof on because I like working. But he says he knows how to do work, but he shows you a picture of a paintbrush and I painted the house. We don't believe you. I don't care whether you prove it or not. And you're a liar about the cost of the paint as well. There is no way on God's earth that the paint you used cost $40 a gallon. The most expensive paint I could find on the island that you live in is $26 a gallon. And you wouldn't use something. Now I couldn't find Glidden, which is the best. I couldn't find Bear, the paint, which is almost as good as Glidden. But I did find what they sell in the store, and that's what you used. You didn't use $40 a gallon paint. So you're lied about that. And not only that, you're so freaking incompetent that you had to go back and forth to the store every week to buy more paint. What, you couldn't figure out that the first gallon covers on that surface that you had at best, give it a good coat, 250 square feet maximum. That would be spreading it thin. So how many feet square? You couldn't figure that out. You had to go back and forth to the store 6 or 7 times. You're not a contractor. You're not a worker. You're not smart. You're not strong. You're not capable of doing any physical work in front of a camera. Otherwise you would. Or you can do work and you don't show it for some other strange reason. Because maybe you're spastic when you do work. I mean, you have trouble with just about everything that you do in life. You can't spell, you can't read, you can't make a video without putting your finger over the lens. You can't do anything, dude. You're basically spastic is a good word. I would not say retarded, because you're not retarded, but I would say spastic. I don't think you do anything well. And the fact that you couldn't figure out how many gallons of paint, every freaking week you were going back to the store for a gallon of paint, gallon of paint, gallon of paint. You don't do that. How much money did you spend on transportation at $1 a mile to go back and forth to the store for paint? Why would you want to go back into the store 6 times when you could go twice? You go the first time, figure out how many gallons, how many square feet to paint, because you're not a contractor. You're not smart when it comes to construction. You can't even do light-duty construction. But you lie about everything. So every time you lie, you get smacked with the right hand. You'd get smacked so many times in 1 week, you'd be begging for the left hand of God to come down and put you out of your misery. You'd be begging for it. Another thing he lied about, big time, bigly, he lied. He lied about this. I mean, why would you lie about this? He says he really wants to see me build a hotel or fall off the roof. One of those two is true. Both of them are not. Previous occasions, he says, I can't wait to see him fall off the roof or impale himself. Well, I can't wait to see the next time, if it ever happens, that you meet me face to face, and that I want you to write these things down, make a note, make a list of stuff of what you're going to say to me. You're going to tell me, I wish you would have impaled yourself on the roof. I wish you would have fallen off the ladder. That would have been funny, he said. I wish that you either build a hotel or fall off the roof so we can watch you die. I want you to say that shit to myself, to my face. To my face. Another thing he lied about. This is a big one. This is a big one. This is a big one. He said I wasn't going to use my money to get in a legal boxing ring with him. So he didn't do it because it wasn't my money. Well, I have the money to do it. I'll still do that with you. We'll get a ring doctor, we'll get a ring announcer. I'll still do that with you. With my money. Now, if I don't have to prove I have the money, I'm going to show up with the money. Don't worry about it. And what difference would it even make in the grand scheme of things? Do you think that Mike Tyson puts up $13 million to fight somebody? No, they use the bettor's money or the backer's money or whoever's funding him. They don't use their own money, but I'll use my own money. $10,000, winner takes all. Me and you. 4-ounce gloves. I don't want this thing to last more than a few seconds. You have such a propensity to be you're a freaking world-class liar. I wouldn't get in the ring with you because, why did you say I wouldn't get in the ring with you? Because I'm old? Because I'm fat? Why wouldn't, what was the reason? You had like 6 or 7 different reasons. Dude, tomorrow, if you could get back here tomorrow, I'll go to the bank and get $10,000 and we'll go to Cebu and we'll rent a ring. And I will show you how you're wrong about a lot of things. How tough you are. Oh, yeah. I'm going to piss my pants. Anybody that opposes him would be so afraid when you looked into his eyes, you'd piss your pants. Woof. Woof. Where was all that bravado when I was looking into your eyes and you crawled up into a little ball like a girl and went like this? You see, sir? You see how he gets? He gets like this on YouTube also. Because you're a coward. At that point, I realized you're a coward. Otherwise, you wouldn't have ran out at the end of the session. You'd have waited for me outside. If you had, my mother had bigger balls than you do. My mother. Of course, you have no balls when it comes to backing up your bravado. You just have a mouth that claps around and flaps around in the wind. That's why we started with, every time you lie, you get a right-handed smack. After so many of those right-handed smacks, you'd be begging for the left-handed God to come down straight out of heaven, put you out of your misery. The left-handed God, this freaking left-handed God, theoretically, could help you move on. Because here's what happened with you. Unlike some other people who have achieved some semblance of greatness or happiness or success, you have never achieved that. Your life has been basically one great failure after the other. You lied about me running out of my mortgage. You lied about me owing the county hundreds of thousands of dollars. None of that's true. You can't find any records on that. You lied about me using my subscribers' money to buy my cement mixer. And you lied about me using my subscribers' money to want to buy my rebar bender. You lie about everything. You are a world-class lying, creepy little person that I think you deserve the left-handed God come out of heaven, at least to see the left-handed God. At least that, to see it in person. And you can do that. Oh, yeah, you were going to come here. You were going to come here and straighten me out. You never did that either, because you're a fucking coward. You made a video, I have this recorded, you made several videos where you're going to come to my house and demand money from Fazio. I think Fazio owes me money, and I'm going to go there and collect it. And if I don't like what Fazio says, I'm going to cold cock him. Did you do that? Now, let me explain this to you. It's probably good that you didn't come. But if you would have come, that would have been okay. But you will never back up anything that you say with your mouth. Other than lawsuit. You want to fight that lady, the lady in, I think, who was it? I think it was Sweet Skate Vlogs. And you want to fight Ruby? You want to bring them to court? Well, what happened to meeting Flywoods? What happened to meeting him for dinner or whatever it was? You're a coward. You would never meet anybody. Ever. I mean, maybe, I could be wrong. You might meet somebody in the middle of a mall. But you even said, if anybody ever came to your island, you're going to get the police. The police will be here when you get here. You'll be arrested. The police do my bidding. The last thing I would have wanted when you came to my house was the police here. That would be like the last thing. It would just be you and a couple of your friends that you were going to bring, and me. That's it. That's enough. There's enough people already. Two's company, three's a crowd. Four is not acceptable. You're a coward, dude. You got a big mouth. When you went over the line saying, now of course, see, this is how you get away with this shit. And Flywoods, if you're watching, he gets away with this shit because he doesn't put his face on camera. And the Philippines does not recognize videos if you don't have your face in the video. So when he says, I've never done anything wrong, because he's only verbal and he's got his thumb over the screen, theoretically, he has not done anything illegal. Now, morally or personally, one day maybe somebody will hold you accountable for the things you say, with or without your face. Hopefully, there'll be a video of that. That'll be a nice viral video. I wouldn't know what to call it, but coward, I don't know. It would have to have the word coward in it. It would have to have the word liar. Liar, coward. Coward, liar. Coward, liar. Coward, liar. Liar, coward. Lakari, love it. Smoker. Smoker. And then another thing. Fazio, maybe he quit smoking, but he probably still smokes. And he drinks 3 bottles of rum a week. You're a lying piece of garbage, dude. You lie about everything. You deserve a good smack from somebody that you lied about. Every time you lie about somebody that's on another island or somebody that can't reach out and say hello to you, I hope that somebody in the supermarket psychically picks it up and just walks up to you and smacks you. Back. That's for the lie you said this morning. We know you lied. You lie every day about something. Oh, I haven't been making videos. Lie. You put them up, you take them down. You're a coward. You're a liar. And for saying that I shoved shabu into my rectum, even though it's not a video with your face on it, I did record that. Can't do much with it, but it will stimulate me. It gives me stimulation to make videos like this, so I can recall some of the things that you say. Never gonna build any. Okay, so for a year and a half, I didn't know anything about carpentry. I didn't know anything about building anything. I didn't know anything about construction. I wasn't a jet mechanic. I skipped out on my mortgage. And when all of that shit was proven not true, now I'm using other people's money to buy my tools. It's all my money, asshole. So now it went, that's not a new cement. It was. How many days did you go around telling people it's not a new cement mixer? And yet it was. So you had to drop that. He didn't quit smoking, and then I'm on live stream for 6 or 7 hours at a time. And I don't smoke a cigarette. That lie went out the window. He drinks 3 or 4 bottles a day with no proof to that at all. None. Zero. He doesn't know anything about construction, then I show you I know about it. He's out of shape. I hit the punching bag for 30 minutes nonstop. 1,500 strokes. Nonstop. Never dropped my hands. He doesn't know anything about carpet, and then I show you carpentry. He takes 2 days to paint a piece of plywood. Where did you pull that out of your ass? 2 days to paint a piece of plywood? I paint an entire piece of plywood. All 4 edges and both sides in about 4 minutes. Where do you pull this shit from? Why do you say it? Do you say it to aggravate people or just because you're mentally incompetent? And you are mentally incompetent because you don't stop. You don't stop. Flywoods ain't going to stop. Sweet Skate ain't going to stop. Ruby, she ain't going to stop. That freaking coward Dave, he stopped. But he was a piece of shit the day he was born. Dave was. he was always a piece of shit. He was a piece of shit when he was born. He was a piece of shit when he was in the service. He's a piece of shit, lying, backstabbing coward on YouTube. Now he's off YouTube. But he's the only one that stopped. Oh, well, a few others. But you are one trippy bastard, man. You are one trippy bastard. Telling people I shove shabu up my rectum and that I do shabu and I'm a lookout for a shabu dealer. Dude, in real life, do you realize that when you and me, if we ever saw each other in real life and you said that, do you realize how long that conversation would last? I mean, are you thinking that the conversation would last 20 minutes? That would be wrong. Are you thinking that the conversation would last a minute? Oh, you were fucking way off, dude. Probably short. It would be a lot shorter than a minute. Because you say the most egregious shit. You already got 90% of the people on YouTube psyched up where when they come, if anybody ever comes to see you, there are dozens of people in the last few years, dozens of people that say they're not even going to say anything to you. They're just going to do something when they see you. From all over the world, people want to come and just walk by you and do something. That's how many people. You have so many people. You're afraid to leave the house without security. Tricycle driver security. I walk around the city all day by myself. I walk around at night. I go here, I go there. I don't need any security because I get along with everybody. Oh, that's another thing. His neighbors, they hate him. And you probably are going to have to stop saying that soon, too, because if anybody's noticed, when I'm working, every one of my neighbors, when they walk by, tell me good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Every one of them. There is not a single neighbor that won't say hello. So that's a lie. You lied about my neighbors hate. His neighbors hate him. I don't know that. And I've never seen that here. Let me plug this in. 18%. Okay. So that's another lie you got caught. His neighbors hate him. I even heard you say his neighbors spit at me when I walk by. Where do you come up with this shit? What is wrong with you, man? I've been saying what is wrong with you for years. I've been saying it. There's something so wrong with you. That you are the zenith of what's wrong with society. It's almost as if every other fault in humanity has blossomed out of your negative karma and hatred. Oh yeah, talking about karma. I live in a beautiful house. I have a beautiful wife. You were not married. You lied about that for years. I live in a beautiful house. I own a house in Hawaii. Now you're living where? Where are you living now? Where exactly? People, now I've never said this, but hundreds of people, because you are always mentioning anal sex and penile penetration and sexual innuendos about other men. Hundreds, thousands, tens of, maybe several thousand, maybe 10,000. Maybe there's 10,000 comments on YouTube, maybe 10,000, insinuating or believing that you may not be openly gay, but you're a closet gay. Now, I've never said that, but there are several thousand people that believe that. So, I don't know that what you are. I know that you're mentally screwed up in the head, but I don't know that you're gay or anything like that. But several thousand people have said that you're probably, it's possible that you're gay. several thousand people. I've never said it. There's no proof that I've ever said it. I never said it. I wouldn't say it because I don't know it's true. But what goes along with being gay and not admitting it is a term called he's a closet gay, or he's in the closet. There you go. Karma. Where are you living? Right now, where are you living? You're in a broom closet. You're living in a broom closet. So therefore, is that karma? Is that the karma chameleon that you're always talking about? Talking about this and talking about that, and then all of a sudden, everybody says that you're a closet gay man? Not me. I've never said it. I'm not saying it now. But now you're living in a closet. Is that like the universe God? The karma chameleon God? Is that the karma chameleon God going like that? When you remember when you went like that? That's what you called it, the karma chameleon? Dude, you are so messed up, man. And the fact that you said, I do shabu, I look out for my neighbors that are selling shabu, and I shove shabu in my rectum, that was like really, 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 really high on my list of things that I didn't like what you said. Really high. Don't be surprised if I don't let that drop for a while. That is really low class. I could talk about you. I could say shit about you that I believe, but I can't prove it. Just like what you said in that video. He looks out for his neighbors that deal shabu. That is like, first of all, it's a false statement. Second of all, it's not provable. Third of all, it's not true. And second of all, that kind of shit will get you in a lot of trouble. And then he does shabu, you said. Sometimes he does shabu, and sometimes he shoves it in his rectum. Oh, you are one sick son of a bitch. And I mean that. You are one sick son of a bitch. The shit that you say, one day you are writing checks with your mouth that your body is not going to be able to cash. One day, somebody, somewhere, somehow is going to just walk up to you and make you understand reality from a whole different point of view. You are a piece of garbage with arms and legs for saying I shove shabu in my rectum. What is wrong with you, man? What is wrong with you? Could you imagine saying that to my face? I mean, do you believe you could do that? Even if you were in front of 75 people, do you believe I would let you say that to my face? Why do you say something on camera or off camera or on YouTube that you wouldn't say to somebody's face? I know for a friggin' fact you wouldn't say it to my face because I already went through this with you. You're a coward. A yellow-bellied coward. I've proven it. I proved it in front of a shitload of people. You're a coward. You curled up into a little ball like a little girl. You see, sir? See how he gets? But you still got a big mouth. Still, somebody hasn't straightened you out. That guy, the guy you attacked with the doo-doo shovel. You don't know that guy didn't have, he might have been a U.S. Navy SEAL, combat veteran. You don't know the guy couldn't have come outside and take that shovel and twist it up, 16 different ways from Sunday. But of course, One day, I think that'll happen. One day, I think you're going to run your mouth to the wrong person. You've already done it 2 or 3 times. You just, but you do it on the line. What about that dinner that you're going to have with Flywoods? Is that off? You're a coward, dude. I don't know Flywoods. I've never talked to him. I actually want to talk to him on the phone, but I never asked him for his phone number or to exchange numbers. He would be one of the people I would talk to. But I don't know much about him. But what I do know is that that guy rides 30 miles a day. His arms, his fingers, his forearms, his shoulders, his back, and his legs are all probably like springs. He would devastate you in seconds. And you run your mouth to him. But more specifically, you run your mouth about his girl, which everybody agrees is not, everybody agrees it's not right to talk about somebody else's wife or girlfriend. Yet you do it all the time because you're a fucking coward. A yellow-bellied coward. That's what you are. You hide behind your computer screen. You'll never fight anybody in a commercial boxing ring where there's a possibility that you have to sign a waiver of, passing injury, that you waive the right to sue anybody for injury. You'll never do that. You wouldn't do it with Bama. You wouldn't do it with Pinoy Troll. You wouldn't do it with Roberto. And when you said you could beat up Kevin, that had to be one of the funniest things I ever heard in my... Kevin is, I don't know, 300 pounds? I mean, it would be hard to hurt... Oh, yeah, that's right, you have fucking fantasy martial arts on your side. Shit like that doesn't work in real life exactly all the time. In your head it works, but it doesn't always work, all your fantasy martial arts shit. And especially that. Nobody is afraid of your clapping either. How fast you clap, how many claps a minute. You're a coward, dude. Face it, you're the world's greatest underachiever. You've never achieved any kind of success in your life. The house that you bought, the money was lent to you from somebody else, although you say it wasn't, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with getting a loan from somebody else, but you didn't save that initial $8,000. It was lent to you, and you gave it back. But you didn't, all those stories that you have, you are a lie. You lie about everything, and you always come out on top. You're the only person in the whole world. You're the victim, remember? You're the victim. You even wrote me a letter. I'm a victim. That's when I discontinued any and all conversation with you. As soon as you started crying like a little girl on a YouTube comment section, you and me, we're from New York. We have to get together and shut down RRR. I'm a victim. I'm a victim of their, whatever, their hatred. As soon as you said you were a victim, I just never paid any attention to you after that. And because I didn't, you started attacking me and Daisy. Why? Because you're a fucking coward. You're a coward. You attack women. You attack people that can't somehow meet with you face to face, and have a conversation. You're a coward, dude. You're a yellow-bellied coward. There's nothing complicated about this. You were born a coward. You grew up a coward. You lived your life as a coward, and now you live the life of a coward, hiding from everywhere and everything that you go. Why don't you have a car, Mr. Success? I have to depend on other people to drive me. Why don't you get a bicycle? take a bike ride. Because you're a coward. You're afraid, maybe you're afraid you'll get hit by a car. Maybe you're afraid of driving. Who knows? Everything in your life, you're a coward. That's all there is to it. It's not complicated. I'm going to check to see if any of my friends are here. I'm not seeing comments on this. I'm not seeing comments. Johnny Adriel. Yeah. I'm sorry, Johnny. I didn't actually see your comment. I wasn't seeing the comments. Thank you for stopping. No, he wasn't off the smokes. It was a couple of days. Sin Simo. Frank's world is not like our world. He should have been taken to a lab and studied. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you, Johnny Adriel. Thank you, Steve25901. And thank you, Sinsimo Travels. You guys have all been my friends for a long time. Oh God. You guys are funny. You guys are funny with these comments. I really don't, I don't know who that guy Baza is, but if it's Bama, I would like it if you didn't talk bad about Bama. I know that everybody does, and there may be even good reason for it, but Bama's in another world all of his own. Bama is a man that's already down. I wouldn't kick a man that's down. Well, there is an exception to every rule. God. So let's see. Oh, yes, I have a lot of comments here. Let me go. LaRue Seagrass, hello. Thank you for stopping by. Wow, these comments did not show up until I just pressed several buttons. PA Trucker, welcome. Yeah, he gets upset that I paint my tools yellow. Why would he care? Now, expat prepper, he has an excuse to be drunk. Just watch some of his videos, and you'll know that when you'll know why he drinks all the time. He is a piece of shit blogger. He comes on my channel and trolls me every day under a different name. You can ask a question, Ben Hill. I won't answer you unless you're a member of my Patreon, PayPal, or my personal friend. You can ask all the questions you want. I have no obligation to answer you. I don't know who you are. You don't show me a name, where you live, a job description, something that you do. You're a piece of garbage blogger. A name on a screen. I have no obligation to answer names on a screen. Send me a large sum of money and we'll talk about it. Why do you people believe? Thank you, Pennsylvania Trucker, for deleting Expat Prepper's comment. The guy is you know what? Let me tell you something about Expat Prepper. For 4 or 5 years, all I've ever heard about that guy is that he's a drunk. And I couldn't figure out why he drinks every day. Till I went to his channel. And now I see why. I see why. He makes memes about me and Daisy. Because I'm not with Daisy anymore. Why would that bother anybody, any normal person? But it does. But now, by going to your channel and looking at who and what is on your channel, I know why you have to be drunk every day when you go home and go to sleep. I know why. It's a good reason, too, because I would have to be drunk to go home and go to sleep where you sleep. Bye-bye, Pennsylvania trucker. Thank you for stopping by. All right. Yeah, that guy is... Andrew Steinmetz. He's a troll. That's why, Andrew. You know I only talk to my friends. Okay, so nice to see you again, Andrew. I hope that you get your computer fixed soon so we can have a conversation. But yeah, I'm under no obligation to answer anybody's question about anything. And all Expat Prepper, all his questions revolve around, where's Daisy? When is the hotel? Well, Expat Prepper, I have a question for you. First of all, now that I have looked at your channel and know why you have to be drunk to go to sleep at night, what are you going to do? Because you're a piece of another garbage blogger. You're a troll, Expat Prepper. When you said I didn't know anything about construction, I don't know if he knows anything about construction. And then when I showed people I know about construction and I have the tools to do it, you had to drop that. So when I build the hotel, what are you going to do then? Well, he'll never finish the hotel. Or it's not going to... You're just a piece of garbage, Expat Prepper. You're a drunk. Your mind is wet. We'll go over this again. If we have to, we will. In one video, you said you didn't address my comments. This is at the beginning of May. Because 2 months ago, which would have been the beginning of March, you were at a birthday party. And you were in and out of the... You were on the panel, by the way. You were in and out of the panel. Well, that's a lie. That's an outright, blatant lie. The time that I addressed you in the form of a comment was right around December 20th. Not March. So you lied about that. So then you went on She's show and said that Fazio's crazy because you were at a birthday party on She's show in December. So the fact that you couldn't remember that the show was not in March, you weren't at a birthday party, number one. Number two, the show wasn't in March, it was in December. And I even had told you that Warren was on the show. Warren died in January. So how could he be on a show in March? So your mind is so disturbed, wet, soaked. You're an alcoholic. You really need to seek professional help, Expat Prepper. Coming from me, that's a big statement. You couldn't remember that, number one, Warren died in January, even though you put a rest in peace Warren Hunt on Facebook. You couldn't remember that Warren died in January, that you were on the panel in December, and you lied about it being in March. And then when I corrected you saying it was in December, you said, yeah, I was at a birthday party in December when I was on the panel. You're just a fucking liar, Expat Prepper. And your mind is wet. And what it means when someone's mind is coddled. Your brain is coddled from the alcohol. You couldn't remember Warren died in January, so therefore you had to be on the panel before January. Then you lied about it being on the panel in March. And all you got, every time you come on my channel, where's Daisy? When is the hotel going to be built? That's all you got? I mean, really, that's all you got. Daisy is with another man. Yeah, okay. So? And what's the point? You're a piece of shit blogger. A blogging, your channel is shit, Expat. Your channel is absolute garbage, in my opinion. You don't put anything up. Okay, you know how to grow vegetables. Okay? But you don't. What does that have to do really with why you have to ask me about my hotel? What if I build a hotel? Then what are you going to do? Offer to come here and do what? Buy me dinner? That would be a mistake. And what? So then, what are you going to do if I do build a hotel, or when I do build a hotel? If everything goes right and I build a hotel, what are you going to do then? You're going to change the story again because your freaking mind is coddled. You're a drunk. You're a useless, sloth-like drunk. I've watched you on your channel. You don't work with the men. You don't even talk to the people at the parties that you have. You're an ATM machine in the Philippines. That's all you are. Nobody interacted with you in any way, shape, or form at any time in any video I watched. Oh boy. And you come on my channel and break my chops. Will you do it in real life? If you will, send me a message on Facebook. I'll give you directions. Promise. If you're willing to go that route, just send me a message. Send me a message on Facebook, Michael Fazio. Please send me directions to your house. I'd like to visit you. And within a short time, I'll send you a link and a map and directions to my house. And we'll go from there. But you're another one that doesn't have the fucking balls to follow through with something like that. And well, you shouldn't. Because you're a coddled drunk. That's what you are. Expat prepper. I'm a prepper. What does that mean? Have food? You know, all these people that have been prepping for this year and that year and 10 years, and they have all of you fucking people that call yourselves preppers, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Look at what happened to the United States of America. They have the Michigan militia, they have the Minnesota militia, they have the Wisconsin militia, they have militia this, militia that, they have the Hells Angels, they got this group and that group. Nobody ever protested the government. Nobody ever fired a bullet at a federal agent when those preppers came in, when the agents came into the preppers' houses to take the guns away. The preppers said, here are my $100,000 worth of guns and bullets. You guys are a bunch of bullshit artists. All of you. They're never going to take my guns, said Charlton Heston. They'll have to pry them out of my cold, dead hands, said Charlton Heston. And when the agents go to your houses, you give them the guns. You're a bunch of fucking bullshit artists. Prepper. That's supposed to mean you're a tough guy? Really? Ask me for directions to my house, and then we'll find out. I'm going to look on my... it's easier for me to read the comments on my expat prepper. What a piece of garbage you are. You're afraid. You know, for 4 years I couldn't understand. I'm going to say it again. I couldn't understand why you were drunk all the time. Why everybody said you're drunk. And I've heard you on She's show, and you are drunk. You've been drunk on her show. Why would somebody go on a show drunk? There's only just a few people dumber than you in life. And they're all on She's show. I'm not going to name them because it doesn't have much to do with me and my channel. But some of them have said derogatory things. But when I look at their lives, I'm going, wow, could be worse. My life could be worse. I could be one of them guys. But why would you go on a show drunk and embarrass yourself and lie? You lied. You even lied that you were at a birthday party in March and you were at a birthday party in December. You were on a panel. Warren was dead 3 months, which, if you believe it's true, he was dead for 3 months. How could he be on a panel in March? But he wasn't on the panel in March. He wasn't on Chi's show in March. He was on Chi's show in December. And you can't remember the most significant show she had all last year? You couldn't remember being on it, on the panel? And who else was there with you? Because you're a drunk. Your mind is soaked. You have a coddled mind. And again, I'm going to say it again. Without saying it, I'm going to say it again. If I had to go home and sleep where you sleep, I'd have to be drunk every day, all day, to prepare myself to go to sleep at night. Go ahead, keep talking about Daisy. Ask me for directions. I'll give you directions. Secrets of the dollar. All right, where are we here? Many money. Many money. Yep, I can't see the comments there. Here they are. Yes, and Simo travels. That's what it seems like. It seems as if the world, and I'm being serious about this now, there used to be a moral code which people lived by. You didn't lie. You didn't steal unless you were cheating on your taxes. Everybody seems to think cheating on their taxes is okay. And believe me, I'm one of the people that believe that the United States government pisses money away on too many things that we shouldn't have to pay taxes for. We're paying taxes for people that go into the service and 3 months later they want to become a woman, and we're giving them $1 million worth of doctor care for they're in the service for 3 months. So over the course of their lifetime and their surgical changes, whatever it is that they do, it's going to cost the United States taxpayer $1 million, about. Because every year after they get out of the service, they're going to collect a military pension, and they're going to have hormonal treatments. We shouldn't have to pay for that. I don't think that's right. But we do. We are bringing 200,000 people a month into America. 200,000 people a month into America. And within a few months, they're all on welfare and they get a lot of money too. Now there's a bill that Biden wants to give all the immigrants a single check for $13,000. And that check is already real for the wet foot, dry foot program. For anybody that gets from Cuba to America gets $13,000 check. They get medical, dental, they get a driver's license, they get an apartment, Section 8 apartment, and they get a check for $13,000 to get them started in America. Biden wants to expand that to everybody. So when people get pissed off about paying taxes, I can see their point of view. Now, why are we paying for all of that shit? So there used to be some sort of morals, ethics. Clinton raped the Social Security fund. Raped it. He never put in, no money ever went back in after Clinton. Clinton was going to get impeached. He dropped 13,000 bombs in the Middle East during the 2 weeks that they were in the process of impeaching him to get the story onto the bombs being dropped and off him and Monica Lewinsky. 13,000 bombs at several $1,000s a piece for the bombs and several $1 million a week for the airplane's maintenance and fuel. Hundreds and hundreds, $1 billion he spent dropping bombs in a few weeks to get. We are paying for shit that we're just destroying. It destroyed America. Now we shipped everything out to China. So for the people that don't want to pay taxes anymore, It ain't going to make a difference. In 2 more years, America will be gone. It's gone already. I keep telling you, dumb bastards. Oh, I got to put the plug in here. I keep telling you that Obama, when he signed the North American Trade Agreement contract with Mexico, Canada, and the United States, it ended. There is no longer the United States of America except on old paperwork. It doesn't exist anymore. You people are dumber than dogs. So, and now this is, as far as a moral compass, you've all lost your moral compass. Now, I'll give you an idea of a moral compass. I'm going to talk about Harriet, a piece of garbage. A piece of garbage named Harriet, garbage blogger. Here's a woman. Now, this is a woman that goes to the Slob's channel. A woman. You want to talk about the moral compasses of people in this world have just deteriorated to the point of there is no moral compass anymore. Harriet says, the long story short is, I don't like the Slob. I don't like him at all. Not even this fucking much. Now, I posted a commentary. Who will be the next Philippines blogging or Asian blogger that will die from their excessive habits this morning, and I meant it. Now, first of all, anybody can die at any time. You can just have a heart attack and just die, dead, gone into the void. But Harriet, getting back to Harriet, so the Slob, I don't like the Slob, not this fucking much. Now, he said he's coming to my house too. You know what would be real good? If you got the Slob and the drunk, the wet-minded drunk, and 3 or 4 of them got together and stood in front of my house. That would make it legal. That would make it legal. 3 or 4 of them got together. Let's go stand in front of Fazio's house. So the Slob said he was going to come in front of my house, and when I called him out on it, his retort was, he said, come to my house. And showed him where the front of the house was and everything. You said you're going to come and yell at me. Come to the house and do that. I think you people think I'm kidding, right? Do you really? I think you think I'm kidding. Well, just because I'm laughing doesn't mean I'm not fucking serious. So, but when, and just because I said bring 2 or 3, that means I am serious. Bring 2 or 3. Couple. Come and pass. I don't give a fuck. Come and pass. So, the Slob, I ridiculed him for being suicidal. Not because he does things that may or may not be legal, because apparently he gets away with it and posts it, so nobody cares. And not because he's a drunk, and I hate drunks. I just don't like alcoholics. And not because he does young women. That doesn't bother me at all. Even if he did even if he did 1 a day for the next 3 years, he'd still have trouble catching up with some people from the 1970s and 80s. So, and he doesn't do it. He does it for money. How is this a success? How is this success? I pay you to have sex with me. You can go anywhere in the world and pay women to have sex with you. Is that success? Well, to Harriet, this piece of garbage blogger, this is a woman that said this. Fazio's jealous of the slob, because the slob gets fresh meat 2 or 3 times a week. So a woman degrades the women that the slob are sleeping with to the point, degrades them to the point of calling them fresh meat, knowing that he pays for fresh meat, like you go in and order a steak. This is what the morals of this world have come to, and yet, does anybody send me money on my PayPal for showing them how to do work and that I'm really working hard at a goal? And I really bought a lot of camera equipment and a lot of fucking tool equipment. Does anybody help me financially? No, because you're all a bunch of cheap bastards. And that's okay. But I don't have to answer your comments unless I want to. Now, that guy Ben Hill, he's just a troll. I don't have to answer his comments. I'm under no obligation. Expat, I answered his comment because I went to his channel and I now know why he has to get drunk to go home and go to sleep at night. I now know why. I personally, I'd be out of there. Out of there. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it. Never did it before. Don't ever plan on doing it. Now I know a lot of things about, why he's drunk all the time. But I can't say it without proof, and I can't prove it, but in my mind, if I had to do what he had to do to go to sleep at night, I'd be drunk. I'd be drunk too. I'd be drunk all the time. So, and all he does is talk about Daisy's a year and a half, 19 months now, expat, 19 months, 19, and I wish Daisy nothing but the best, always have. Nothing that any of you people ever say about me and or Daisy and or her future husband Eugene, nothing is going to make me talk bad about Daisy. You try under false names, nothing's ever going to make that happen. I have no animosity or hatred or even anger towards Daisy. But you come on to needle me about something that would be, in your mind, a stickler. Because you people, expat pepper, what did you sleep with, 3 women since you were born? And look at where you are now. I don't even want to talk about that. Hello, LaRue. Thank you for stopping by. Oh. I don't know anything about this guy, Ben Hill. Ben Hill is Karen at weekends and goes to streams to be that's not a man. Offended. I don't know. I just don't feel I need to answer. I mean, Sincimo and I have been friends for a very long time. I consider Sincimo, absolutely, I consider Sincimo Blogs my friend. Steve 25901, you've said, well, let's see if Fazio builds the hotel. You still have a little bit of doubt there in your mind. I've seen that comment. And you have to remember, Steve 25901, for that doubt, for that moment that Moses doubted God, for that one brief moment, he got to see the promised land, but never got to go in it. So you're not necessarily on the fence, but you like to see your name on everybody's channel, and you go both ways. Not sexually, but comment-wise. I don't really appreciate that much. I don't consider you my friend. I allow you to post on my channel, but I don't consider you my friend. But Sincimo, I do. And it has nothing to do with money. It has to do with the comments that you feel necessary to go on other people's channels so that you could somehow kiss their ass just a little bit. I don't appreciate that at all. I never kissed anybody's ass. I could tell you stories that would get me thrown off YouTube of what I did and what I didn't kiss anybody's ass. Okay? I could tell you stories about things that happened in the 1980s and 70s. Now, one story, gone. My channel gone. Another story, channel gone. Another story, channel gone. Name names, give you street addresses, who they were in relationship to one family, channel gone. Okay, I'm not like you, 25901. I don't have to mishmash my words in a dozen different places, and I don't have to cow down to anybody else's thoughts or beliefs. I never did, I never have, and I never will. But you are one of those people, and believe me, I have a friend of mine that does the same thing, and I still consider him my friend. But you, I don't know. Worth the shit, 259. Never talked to you in real life. You never tried to reach out and want to talk to me in real life, because you're just a fucking name on a computer screen, as far as I'm concerned. Some days you're on my side, some days you're on their side. Some days you're making fun of this, some days you're making fun of that. But when when you see somebody like that piece of shit expat talking about Daisy, when your comment is before, during, and after, and don't correct him, I have no respect for you at all. I say hello to you, but that's it. In fact, because of something you said the other day, you're no longer a moderator. This way I don't have to worry about you turning on me like so many other people who were a moderator. So, no offense, but you allow people to attack me on other people's channels. I don't need your backup. Believe me, I don't need your backup. Nobody will ever back me down on YouTube or in real life. Okay? I'm just not that type of guy. But you allowed people to talk shit about me, and then you go silent. At least Lee73, in 100 comments on Fat Slob's page, said, why does everybody bother Michael Fazio? He's just trying to build a hotel. He's showing people how to do some construction work, and he tells funny stories. He was the only person out of 100 comments that stood up for me. I don't even know who Lee73 is. You I've known for 5 fucking years, and you let shit like that go by with like you didn't hear it. I don't know what's wrong with you either. You got no spine? And I'm being serious. Are you in the Philippines? You need directions to my house? I'll give them to you too. I don't give a fuck. Eventually, I'm going to put my name on a Google map. But I'll give them to you personally if you have a problem. You and expat. Or anybody else. The slob. You could all come on the same day. And you all leave the same way. I mean day. Sinsimo says, Daisy has nothing to do with anything. She doesn't. She's not here to defend herself, so I defend her. Just like I would defend any person that was right. Even if I didn't like a person. I'm not going to let you talk shit about a person that I believe has the high ground, so to speak. And And you got all these tough guys on YouTube. Do any of these tough guys on YouTube make you you just ask me for directions to my fucking house, and then come here and yell at me from the front of my house, like you say, well, whatever it is that you think that you wanna, or think that you're gonna, or think you can do. You think I give a fuck? I don't. Again, I could tell you stories, you wouldn't believe them, and I'd get thrown off YouTube at the same time. There are people out there that occasionally sign on to my channel that know me from 30 years ago. And I've not changed any in 30 years. I look differently, but and the people that I knew 30, they haven't changed much either. When I was back in New York, a lot of those guys are still doing the same thing, whatever it is that they're doing. But that's not the point. The point is they know I'm serious. You see, the problem is you don't believe I'm serious. That little fucking weasel bastard that said I shoved shabu into my rectum, that conversation would be, oh God, if you said that in real life to me or any of my friends, that conversation would be milliseconds. It would be over in milliseconds. I don't know how long a millisecond, it would be over a short period. It would be short work. Simo, getting it on. I wouldn't. I'm not gonna. That would be. I think that would be inappropriate comment. I'm gonna let that one stay hidden. But see, that guy's just under your skin, like he tried to get under my skin. He's some twerp, TWERP, some twerp. He's like the weasel. He just says shit to get under your skin. Never gonna meet you. He's never gonna meet you. He's a coward too. This is what I mean about the moral turpitude of people. And you guys with the military career, what the fuck does that mean to me? What the fuck does that mean to me? That you're in the military? A lot of people were in the military and they had jobs loading ordnance on pallets and from warehouses. Some were cooks, some were electricians, some were builders. Some went into combat. Some went into combat and never killed anybody. Some went into combat and shot somebody from a few hundred feet away, but never had a hand-to-hand combat. What the fuck does you being in the military mean to me? Nothing. I'm not even going to thank you for your service most of the time, because my opinion about the military itself, especially America's military, is not high. I don't have a high opinion. When Mrs. Clinton was the Secretary of State, and Madeleine Albright was the Secretary of State, they are responsible for killing 500,000 children under the age of 5 years old in one of the brown countries. I don't remember the names. Our American military bombed, remember some place called Fallujah? They they made a whole entire segment of a population somewhere in the Mideast, Fallujah, radioactive, and killed tens of thousands of people through cancer and birth defects. That's our military did that, and they knew that it was going to happen when they were dropping those radioactive plutonium-tipped bombs on those people. This is our military that did that. They knew that they were going to. This was a big experiment to destroy a whole segment of society using uranium-tipped ammunition, I think it was. Now, they used that on the A-10A Warthog. They used a plutonium-tipped bullet. And the pilots that flew the Warthogs and Desert Storm and Desert Shield and other, a lot of those pilots died of cancer within 10 years. They know this is going to happen. They don't care. When they didn't give a shit about the USS John F. Kennedy when it pulled into port in Fukushima, Japan, they knew the radiation was like 30 times higher than acceptable. So they just shut off the radiation detectors and told the people to go out on the deck to hand the Japanese fresh water. And they got irradiated. Men, women, pilots, mechanics, machinists, deckhands. They irradiated so many people that there's now a lawsuit still going on from 2011 for 179 people have cancer from being irradiated in Fukushima. They got it within a few months afterwards. They got colon cancer and liver cancer and stuff, stomach cancer, lung cancer. They know it's from Fukushima, but they won't settle the case, the government, or I don't know if they ever did. Our government is responsible for killing several million people for no fucking reason whatsoever. So when you tell me, I was proud to serve in the service, well, maybe you did something that there was to be proud of, that you think that there is to be proud of. Me personally, I would have went into the service, but they canceled the draft, so I didn't have to go in. I wouldn't have been a coward about it like the weasel, but I didn't have to go in. I knew the military was evil back then because I had friends that were in the military that before, like 1 and 2 generations older than me, like 5 and 10 years older than me. And good friends and family that were in the military. The military is an evil organization. It's not a good thing, the military. They kill everybody. And what do? They teach you go into the military service and they teach you how to kill people, and you kill people for 2 or 3 years or 2 or 3 months, and then they tell you, okay, you can't kill anybody anymore. So you did it in the name of God. You come home, you're a veteran hero with stars and clusters and medals of honor, and you see a guy in the store, pulls a gun out on a woman, and you grab the guy and you knock him to the ground, and the police come and arrest you because you're holding the guy's gun. And you hit him after he was on the ground. It's called punitive damages. After the fact. He's already down on the ground and you hit him again. And they arrest you. It's not fucking fair. It's not right. But that's what they do. So being in the fucking military don't mean anything to me. No, I'm not a vet. I'm not a veteran. I was not in Fallujah. But I read about it. And I learned a lot of stuff about Fallujah. They destroyed a whole country. No, I have never been in the Mideast, ever. I'm not a veteran. I know nothing about the service. I worked on the A-10A Warthog, building it in 1974 and 1975, but never was I in the service. And I don't know what SME is. So how are you an SME? I don't know what an SME is. You want? If you can explain it to me, I'll tell you why I am not one. Well, I'm not. I don't know what that means. All right. So what is an SME? Janice Junior. Subject matter. Subject matter. No. What? Do you really think that using radioactive bombs on children and women, you think that's civilly acceptable? You don't have to be an expert to be moral. That's wrong. And they knew that that was what was going to happen. I don't know what they were doing in Fallujah, but the United States government has enough bombs that they didn't have to drop radioactive bombs to destroy an entire culture for 10 generations. I'm not going to get involved with a conversation. No, I don't know the full story. No, that I don't know. No, I don't know the full story about Fallujah, but I do know that the radiation is still making children be born with several arms that come out of the side of their head, cauliflower head children, children that with two heads. The government knew that was going to happen. So I'm not an expert on Fallujah. I don't know anything about Iraq, but they knew that this was going to happen. So however else they could have handled it. Listen, dude, whatever you are, America is in the business of starting wars and ending wars, but we're not in the business of winning wars. All war is a method for the United States mafia to test out their toys on brown people. Just like George Carlin said, but that's the truth. Vietnam, that I read a lot about because I grew up in that era and I was not in the service. They could have wiped out the North Vietnamese in a few days, but they didn't do that. Instead, they sprayed Agent Orange on our soldiers. So what are you talking about? You're going to defend the United States government for spraying Agent Orange on our soldiers when they could have ended the war in a few days? And you're going to defend that a whole culture of people were radiated and where their children, that whole country, the everything about that country will be contaminated for a couple of 100 years? That's not really defendable. I'll read your comments, and I'm going to let all your comments stay up there because you have your point of view on this. Because, no, I'm not talking shit about it's not the people that were in the service that decided to drop those bombs. It's the people like Bush. What did Bush, the president of the United States of America, am I allowed to talk about that piece of garbage? Of course I am, because it's political. He said there were weapons of mass destruction, and there were none. None. What about Cheney? Cheney made more money from Iraq and Iran and those bombs, and Clinton they all made hundreds of billions of dollars. It's not the men who served. It's the people that control the men that served, that gave the orders. It was wrong. In fact, if the world would have went a different way, we would be out in space populating other worlds. But instead we spend it on military fighting bombs and bullets. Some of those missiles they shoot, a surface-to-air missile or an air-to-surface missile, some of those cost $200,000. Some of those bullets are $1,000 a piece, $10,000 a piece. Some of them. And how do you justify this shit? There was no reason. There's never been a reason for war after World War II. Never. Okay? We have We spend $7 million a week on jet fuel for aircraft carriers, week in and week out, week in and week out, week in. You can defend the military and you can defend the men in the military, and I would not disrespect the soldiers per se, but the whole concept of war is bullshit. The whole entire concept of war is bullshit. They didn't win in Vietnam when they could have won, because their entire objective was to do nothing more than test out their weapons on our men and their men. Okay? That's a fact. It's been proven 1,000 times over. We didn't win in Iraq or any other place that we went into. The money, the Saddam Hussein had all that gold. Gaddafi had all that gold. It all disappeared. The United States government is a corrupt entity. It's a corrupt machine. It always was. Okay? I'm not an expert on anything that has to do with the men themselves fighting in the war. Have nothing to do with the war. We spend... Do you know, you people are so fucking stupid. Not you, about the military. But last year, the billionaires in America, the people that own the stock for the war machine and for the vaccination companies, they made $4 trillion during the worst economy in the history of America. Nobody's working. Nobody's earning any money. Nobody's building anything. The cost of building materials went up 25% since last May. From last May till today, 25%. Housing, construction is down 60% in most places. But the billionaires that sell the vaccinations, which are another scam that the billionaires have going with the war machine. They all own. Cheney owns. What about Cheney? When after 9/11, he was the only person to have. Cheney had the only company that made radiation scanners for the airlines. He made $100 billion since then from his companies that build airport detectors. That's why we had 9/11. The $13 billion in gold that was in the vault under the World Trade Center was never recovered. The $100 billion in diamonds and gold and jewelry in the World Trade Centers was never recovered. This whole thing with war, it's just a facade so that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And they don't give a shit about you or me. The United States government spends more than $1 million a minute on war materials. If you don't know this, I don't know how to make you understand that what I'm telling you is accurate. Elon Musk. I don't know much about him. I haven't read. I really don't even know who he is. To be honest, I don't spend a lot of time with him because I know he has large goals. All right, so yakking vet. No shit. It's all bullshit. And I'll agree with you on the money. Well, thank you for that. Thank you very much for that. Because it's not you, yakking vet. It's not the men. It never was the men. I was gonna go to. I owned a heavy equipment company all my life, and I was gonna go to New York to work as part of. To get into the excavation of the 9/11, excavation of the buildings. I never went. I never went because I had work in Florida, And I could have got a job running a piece of equipment because a friend of mine, Peter, had a little piece of that action. Peter long since died from cancer because he was part of the crew that picked up the debris from 9/11, loaded with asbestos and mercury. And Peter was, at the time, he was about 5 years younger than me, so I guess he'd be about 58 or maybe 60 now. But he died a few short years later, and he was operating an excavator. The whole thing it's a farce. The whole thing about war is a farce. It's a joke. It's not real. It's not. There's no provability that war has ever. We haven't. Did we win? In Vietnam, did we win? No. Did we win in the Korean War? No. Did we win in the Cuban Missile Crisis? No. We give those people $13,000 if they can get to our. We never won anything. It's not about the men that fight in the war. I worked on the A10A project. There was nothing but waste. Nothing. The government wastes so much money. Here, I'll give you, for instance, Yakking Vet. Okay, so it's going to be Christmas, and my foreman on the A10A project at Fairchild Industries in Farmingdale, New York, on Route 110, says, bring in your big toolbox, Fazio, your rollaway. Why? We're going to be laid off for the Christmas holidays. Yeah, but we're all filling up our toolboxes. Guys were bringing in 8-foot rollaway toolboxes empty in the front door the week before Christmas. And all we did was go to the tool bin and collect tools. Drill bits, tools, router bits, reamers, air drills, air ratchets, air guns, air chisels. And we had to do that in order to keep up the amount of money that the government was needed for their budget. I got fired from the A10A. You know why I got fired? Because me and Tommy Joskowski went on a time study program after Christmas for 3 months, and we rated 135% above everybody else. 135. That was our 3-month rating. So the average person worked at 80%, and we were doing 135% of the average person's work, but we were only there 6 months. So we got fired. And we got blackballed from the airlines because we did so much work. The foreman, Al, came by and said, you guys got to slow down or they're going to fire you and you'll never get a job in the airline industry again. And I looked at Tommy, and Tommy looked at me. He didn't care, I didn't care. So we went ahead and we rated at 135% over 3 months. When the report was done, they submitted it. I think our 9-month, 90, whatever it was, 6 months. 6 months for the 3-month extension, whatever it was. When that extension was over, we got laid off. And we could reapply for a job, and I did. I liked that job. But me and Tommy never got picked back up. I know what it was. Every 9 months, they had to lay everybody off. So you weren't qualified for medical and dental or pension. I don't know. Something to do with the way the structure of the corporation worked. So they had to lay you off for a certain amount of weeks, and then they could rehire you. But Tommy and I never got rehired. We didn't care. One lonely farmer. Oh, okay. Wes, you mentioned one day you want me to call you. Do you want me to call you one day? I mean, I could call you after this live stream, and I can end the live stream now if you had time for me to call you. Thank you, Yakking Vet. Scott Del Fuego. Any needle scalers? No. I bought that needle scaler. Um, I don't think I remember. They might have had them, but I didn't get one. Um, I was embarrassed to get all that stuff. I still have boxes of tools from Fairchild Industries. Boxes. I opened up a toolbox the other day with, well, Scott's seen it on my private videos. I showed you all those air drills and air ratchets and angle grinders and all the bits and stuff like that. I found a box, a whole box of that shit. I opened up a toolbox from New York that I had strapped closed, and I just threw it in a container. I have like more of those things. Anyway, Wes, if you're still here and you want me to call you, I'll end the live stream, or if you have a special day. Not today. Okay. Okay, I know you're going to North Carolina. I watched that video you did the other day about how many plants, population. Boy, I watch all your videos. I know nothing about planting stuff, but I found it interesting. 3,700 corn stalks to the acre, and that was interesting. You make some great videos. Anybody that doesn't know who One Lonely Farmer is, Wes, he's a farmer that works. It's a family farmer, 3 generations now, and he has a big farm and a lot of farm equipment. Well, for me, a lot. I was at Wes's farm. He's got it, and he actually does the work. He repairs his own equipment, and when he doesn't like the way a piece of equipment was built, he builds it right. He rebuilds it properly. He's an excellent, A mechanic. He's as good as it could be as far as mechanical skills. He could fix the one amazing thing about Wes is that I can't do. He takes shit off. He takes shit apart and just throws the parts on a piece of cardboard, all of them. Stuff that a lot of pieces. You got to remember which direction the gears are going in and stuff like that. I have to lay it out. The old stuff I take out, so I remember which direction, which shim goes between which gear. He knows all that stuff. He's really smart like that. He's an excellent mechanic. So if you ever want to watch a real man do real work. And his wife is Filipina, and she runs the equipment. She helps with the repairs. They have a son, William. He's a little over 2 years old that I met a year and a half ago. And he's now sitting in the machine with his dad, Wes. It's pretty cool. Although I don't know what stops William from putting the machine in gear when the machine is running. I don't know if there's some kind of safety. I think to me, that's a little scary. Because you know how children will just grab something and pull on it. But Wes has a great farm channel, and he knows a lot about farming. He modifies the equipment. And right now he's working with a 30-year-old corn planting machine that he rehabilitated it. That's something like 30 years old. Whereas if you wanted to buy a new one, they're $200,000 or plus on top of that. And his work's just as good. You just have to give it a little love. So, that's, and now getting, okay, I gotcha. Somebody has to be sitting in the seat. I was wondering about that. I always wanted to ask you that. Thank you for answering. So, in other words, until a man is sitting in the seat or someone with enough weight, okay, and by the time he gets to be that weight, he'll know not to do it. That's great. Thank you very much for explaining that, Wes. I knew there had to be something because it's a good question and a great answer. So when Wes has he's going to North Carolina to do, I think, he's taking on some contracts for, I think last year was 3,000 acres. And then if he needs equipment, he brings the equipment with him. They do on the road, on site repairs. They don't have to give the equipment out to an equipment dealer. Him and his sons and his wife and his nephew, they fix the equipment themselves. It's a family operation, and he has a tool truck that goes with the farm equipment. It's a really cool operation. I've been to the farm. I only got to spend 5 hours of daylight on the farm, like 1 hour at night, the night before, and then 3.5 hours in the morning. But I got to see all of his equipment and the operation, his tool room and his shop. It's quite the operation, really is. So, hey, LaRue Segrest. Scott is here. And I would suggest if you just want to watch something different and something intellectual and something educational, how our food, where our food, who produces our food and how it's done, Wes gives you a walkthrough of what fertilizers are used for what, rotation of crops, GMO versus non-GMO, if there is a benefit to GMO, if there's 2 corns on the stalk, how close. The other day I learned something. If the planter that he has, if it plants a seed every 5 5/8 of an inch, it's better than if you plant a seed every 5 3/4 of an inch of a 6-foot stalk. Who knew? Who knew that 1/8 of an inch was going to make that much of a difference? I mean, that's the kind of stuff that it's trivia, but he explains to you. And if the seed is down 2 inches or 2 1/4 inches, well, one is better than the other. And if the seedling comes out of the ground and it gets really cold and the seedling has 4 leaves on it, it'll be okay. But if the seedling is just out of the ground and it only has 2 leaves on it and it gets cold like a dusty snow at night, it'll probably die. Or the tree will be a midget. Who knew? 2 leaves is bad, 4 leaves is good. But that's the kind of trivia that Wes gives you. And then he shows you, he does all the work himself, him and the boys. They pick up things that weigh 1,000 pounds, 1,500 pounds, 2,000 pounds with jacks, and they jack it up and they bolt it in, and he's got a really cool setup. Sensimo, let's give the topic a little levity. Michael, I'm thinking of moving to Hilo, Hawaii. I have a mental problem and a budget of a crackhead. Is this place, should I move to? Oh, yeah. Now, I don't know. I didn't know much about Hilo, Hawaii, and I never want to go to Hawaii. It never interested me to go there. Not for vacation, not for anything. And I didn't know that they had such a big population on that island. The weasel, when he went to a certain part of the city, I wouldn't say thousands, but there were several hundred tents set up around the area where people were living in tents. So there are poor neighborhoods on that island. I wouldn't put them down for that, because I'm going to tell you something. This whole thing, the the economic housing bubble in 2008 and 2009. That was planned to destroy, to get back the property to the mortgage companies. And now, what they're going to do next, I will tell people, but I want to get in the ring with the weasel, and I will wager him my $10,000. Where's my bank book? Here it is right now. What do I do with my bank book? Well, I have a bank book here, a dollar account in the Philippines. I can back up that $10,000 with my money. So, hey, weasel, you fucking coward. I'll get in the ring with you any day. I don't even need a notice. I don't even need like a day's notice. All I need is a time and a place. So, the weasel shows the people, I live inside. I know that there's slums everywhere in the world. In Brooklyn, in Queens, in the Philippines. But when I did a little research on Hilo, Hawaii, it's the poorest of all the islands. And that has the most homeless population, which is not their fault. America was once a thriving community of people before they sold everything out to China and Japan and Taiwan and Korea. We were once a great nation. We are no longer, well, I'm not in America anymore, but America is no longer. So the people that are poor on the street, I don't blame them. I would never make fun of them. I just can't do that. I don't have that ability in me to make fun of someone living in a tent, because they're not living in a tent, because most of them are not living in a tent because they're worthless people. They're not worthless people. The government has turned them into what Henry Kissinger calls eaters, useless eaters. This is not their fault. The government took away all their ability to earn a living. This is not the people's fault that they're living in tents. Now, a great many of them came into the country illegally, and they had no place else to go, so that's how they live. But when America was not letting people into the country before 1965, before that piece of shit Kennedy and that other piece of shit Johnson changed the immigration policies, we were a thriving nation. One person, one man, typically, went to work for 40 hours a week, and my dad, on a 40-hour-a-week salary as a tugboat captain, which was a good job, bought our house. We had a house in Long Island, 2 houses in Long Island. We had a boat, and we had clothes and food to go to school. And my dad bought good foods for us, and he didn't eat anything different at the dinner table. If he ate lobster, we ate lobster. If he ate steak, we ate steak. One man, one job. He had a car. Didn't have 2 cars, but he had a car. He had a cabin cruiser, 28-foot cabin cruiser. Now, who can do that now? Unless you're a lawyer or a doctor. But he was a blue-collar worker. These people that are living on the street are not. They're considered by some people the dregs of society, but the government did this to them. The government allowed. Do you know that since the year 2010, the video that I showed you before, I showed it to you on the screen. Here, I'll show it to you again. This was one of my top playing videos. Wait a second. Hold on. Come on. What the hell is going on here? Okay. This was one of my top playing videos. This video right here. Massive immigration warning. Now this is the name of the title. That's my title. Warning. Strong cursing. Pedophile Pope Ratzenberger and Obama rant. Best Obama rant ever. So it says right here. The Weasel did this. The Weasel's been going through my videos and flagging video after video after video. I can't. I don't really care because I don't get a strike. Hey, Hoodwink, we wanted to let you know that we reviewed your content and we think it violates our hate speech policy. Go figure. We know you may not have realized this was a violation of our policies, so we're not applying a strike to your channel. However, we have removed the following content. We realize this may be a disappointing. Now, and at some point in here it says that we realized that the content was posted prior to the new set of rules. So I made hundreds, 500, 600, 700 videos about immigration policies and illegal immigration policies. 500, 600, 700. I still have them on my channel. That one I forgot to remove. Not remove it, I made them private. Because I knew that they would be not allowed, so I missed that one. So the Weasel from Hawaii is going through all my videos. It's all he does all fucking day. He doesn't have anything else to do. He doesn't have any skill sets. He has no hobbies. He has no talent to do anything. He can't interact with other people. He can't socialize with anybody for more than 45 seconds. They walk away from the guy. And so anyway, massive immigration. Now I have 500 videos saying that. Well, I thought it would have been 5 years from 2010 that we would have had 30% increase in population in the next 5 years. According to what Obama wanted to do, he was just going to open up the borders, and it would have happened the way I made the video. I said that by the year 2015, America would be increased in population by 30%. So we would have went from, and the Spanish population would have at that point been like 45%. Spain and Uruguay, Panama, Yugoslavia, wherever they are, wherever they come from, Mexico, wherever they come, Panama. So, but it didn't happen like that because they stopped what Obama wanted to do. But now they're letting in 200,000 people a month. Biden is doing that. And Biden was Obama's vice president, right? They're continuing Obama's policy. So at 200,000 people a month, they're increasing the population of America by 1%. But there are no jobs. Why are they doing this? Seriously, there are no jobs for the people that are here. Why are they letting 200,000 people a month come in? And then they're giving them upwards of $13,000 each. That's in Biden's $4 trillion. His $4 trillion tax package. How long can America's not going to be, you're not going to be paying taxes or earning money in 2 or 3 years. China's going to call in their debt and it will be a subsidiary of China. It won't be America anymore. They'll take all the American flags down. They already took the statues down. The only statue that's left is the statue, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. They did not let those fucking animals that were taking the statues down, they did not let those fucking animals hurt the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. That's the only one that was protected. And it should be, because it represents a time when America was a great nation. It's one of our few heritages that we could be proud of. At that point, when in World War I, when the remains of the soldier came back, they had no DNA or any kind of testing method to see who it was, and they made that tomb. So it's an edifice to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. That's the only statue in America or tomb that may remain. They've taken down most of the presidents. They've removed the names of President Lincoln, Court, and shit like that because they said he was a slave owner. Washington was a slave owner. All those guys were slave owners. And now we're owned by slave owners named Elon Musk and Donald Trump, who works for Israel directly. Sucking on the old Israeli teat, he is. Donald Trump is an Israeli puppet. Now we're Israel's puppet because of the Samson maneuver. And if you don't think that's real, it is. If you don't know what it is, look it up. Israel will not succumb or be threatened by any nation in the Middle East because they have what they call the Doomsday Plan. That's called the Samson Option. Samson Option. You people got to, you come on YouTube, you don't study anything that has to do with history. You don't study anything that has to do with our culture, where we came from. You don't know that Dick Cheney made $100 million. I said billion before. $100 million right away. As soon as with his company was the only company that made airport detectors. Well, why did he own a company? The company he bought that built airport detectors, it was a worthless company. No one wanted metal detectors. They had a few metal detectors in a few schools. This is all planned. It's a planned destruction of the economy. It's why, I know. I brought a lot of money I brought to the Philippines. Because I think the banks in America are going to collapse. Maybe the banks in the Philippines are going to collapse too. At that point, well, there are no other options. But you people that have, I could tell you what I think is going to happen to the stock market. We're going to have another crash like 1929. And it'll all happen in a couple of hours. You won't have time to cash anything in and everything will be worthless. Look what they did to Bitcoin. One guy did that. Now that I know about Elon Musk. One guy took shaved $20,000 off the cost of Bitcoin in 1 hour. Why? Why? So he could buy it at $30,000 and then wait for it to go back up to $50,000 and do it again. That's how that works. But the stock market, how is the stock market going up and 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 up? How is that possible? We're not building anything. We haven't built anything in 30 years. We're not selling anything overseas. Everything is imported. We have no more industry in America. How is the stock market going up? It's going to collapse. Well, anyway, that was my massive immigration warning, strong cursing video was removed with no strike. So the weasel is wrong again. YouTube is not striking me when they take my videos down. They are removing them, though. I got like 3 of those in the last few weeks. And that's because the weasel has nothing to do all day. It's either that or get teabagged by a pair of dog's balls. I don't know a damn thing about Hawaii. Well, I do. I know one thing about Hawaii. Local council letter have took my English flag down or fines. Huh. I don't know what that means, but sorry to hear that. So, one thing you want me to tell you I'll give you a story I can tell you. Okay? Can't tell you what the guy did for a living, and I can't tell you what he did for a living. And I won't tell you what he did because sometimes he watches my videos. Anyway, my friend, he went to Hawaii. I don't know why he went to Hawaii. It was back in the 80s. He went to Hawaii and he fell in love with a woman, a beautiful Hawaiian woman. And her family was real, what they call Yakuza. The people that, Japanese, Hawaiians, the Yakuza runs, it's a big crime family syndicate. And my friend was a real tough guy, not like the Weasel where he runs his mouth in and crawls into a fucking closet. And they liked him. They let him marry their daughter, or the daughter of the head of the Yakuza on the island that he was on. So that's the only thing I know. And he explained to me what the Yakuza was back in the 80s, because we didn't know what Yakuza was back then. We knew Hawaii grass skirts and Hawaii surfing. I had no idea what the Yakuza was, but he explained to me So that woman came from Hawaii, and my friend and I, there was a 6-inch cinder block wall between us. I lived in one floor. I lived on the top floor. He lived on the middle floor. His brother lived on the top floor, side by side with me. But we were best friends for many, 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 many years. And she came, and she had the baby here in America. And his name is Michael. I don't know why they chose the name Michael. It had nothing to do with me. Although we were friends, it wasn't my idea or their idea to name the child Michael after me. But he explained to me everything about the Yakuza. The people that run the world are not the people that you see, mayors and governors, and they take orders from people like Pete's wife's father. They don't run anything, especially in Hawaii. They just appear to run things. So unless you grew up where I grew up and have an understanding of how things really work behind the scenes, I could walk you through the politicians from when I grew up, that people that I grew up with or knew as neighbors or knew as my friend's father or uncles, that all have political power now in politics. These were the most corrupt fucking people you ever met in your whole life. These were people that would pass 6 inches of money over a fence at night for a bag of something. These are seriously corrupt people. And now they're the political entities that run the area that I grew up in and many other political offices. Not all of them are Italian either. Some of them are Irish. You people have no understanding of how things really work. But that's the only thing I know about Hawaii, is that her family was in charge of that island. And I won't tell you the name of the island because I don't remember, but it was a big island. But the Yakuza runs Hawaii, not America, and not the politicians that you see in the newspapers. Oh, okay, now I understand. Local council letter have took my English flag down. So you live in the UK and they made you take your English flag down. Now I understand. See, this is what I mean. The world is becoming homogenized into every shit fucking entity in the world is becoming more important than the people whose country they move into. Yeah, in America, you're not allowed to wear the American flag on anything anymore. I think the cops had to remove the American flag from their uniforms, if I remember correctly. I think the only place you can wear the American flag is at the Olympics or at sporting events. I'm not sure. They don't want you flying American flags. There was a I've been watching because it was supposed to rain today, and I was not going to do a long live stream today, but I got nothing else to do. So I would give the weasel something to go through, the fucking weasel. The weasel has to do something all day. I got to give him something to do. And I'll give him something to fucking do if he'll get in the ring with me. I got $10,000. We'll go. You got to get $10,000. I'll put the additional money up for the ring, and whoever wins has to pay the additional money for the ring. 4-ounce gloves, though. That's my only request, is that we use 4-ounce gloves. And I'm going to retract my offer to let the weasel wear a football helmet when we get in the ring, because I want to muss up his hair. After I'm done working down low, I'm going up high. And I want to muss up his hair a little bit, and with the football helmet on, I'm going to have a problem. But I was so confident that the weasel couldn't take a good body shot, which it wouldn't matter, that if he got in the ring, a licensed ring announcer and doctor and cut man and all that shit, if he got in the ring with me, I was so confident that I was going to let him wear a football helmet with 4-ounce gloves. And then theoretically, I couldn't hit him in the head, right? I bet you I could. The shock, give him a little shock therapy. Bang. Fucking weasel. Give him a little fucking, a little shock therapy. And the football helmets, they're usually padded pretty good, right? Well, we test that out. The police wear a black version of our British flag. Okay, so it's not so predominant, the flag on their arm, that it would offend anybody. I understand what you're saying. It's fucking crazy. You people, I moved to the Philippines. I have 100 videos still up on YouTube saying I'm moving to the Philippines, baby. I've been saying that since 1981. Then where are you going to retire? The Philippines. Why? Because it's warm all year. You hear people, you hear this fucking weasel. You hear this fucking weasel say, Fazio moved to the Philippines because he was broke. How am I living here? How did I buy a cement mixer or a Samsung Galaxy S21 phone? How do I pay my rent? Or how did I go on 12 diving vacations, all of which I have videos of? All of which cost more than $1,000. Some of them $2,000 or $3,000. How did I do all of that? Because the weasel just makes this shit up. But anyway, does the weasel have any videos, any content? No content at all. Nothing, zero. Because he's the world's greatest underachiever. But anyway, I was gonna do a short video today, but it didn't work out. I thought it was going to rain. I looked at the weather. It said it was going to rain. It looked like it was going to rain. It didn't rain. And besides that, I'm a real fucking man. I'll just go right out on the roof at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the blaring hot sun. Let's see the weasel do that. Let's see the weasel do that. He can't work. He gets out of breath walking between the frozen food department and the vegetable frozen food department, the frozen meat department, and he gets out of breath walking 26 feet on a flat tile surface. The weasel. Fucking weasel. Anyway, how did I do all of that shit if I was broke? So I moved to the Philippines. I always was clear as day on this. I didn't move here for a woman, although I was supposed to meet a woman. When I moved here, she never showed up at the airport. No big deal. She showed up 3 weeks. 3 weeks later, and she was one of the most boring people I ever met. Nice girl, but boring. I couldn't date her. She wasn't a bad girl. She was probably a very good girl, but she was boring. I came to the Philippines to blog the Philippines. I don't even have a picture of her face. And I made 75 videos with her next to me at my side while I toured around Cebu with her at the Church of Simala, all over Cebu. She asked me don't put my face in the video, so I never did. She wouldn't be in my videos. I said after a couple of weeks of that, it was nice knowing you, thank you, goodbye, and never even kissed her. She just was not my type of girl. But if she was willing to show me around Cebu, I was willing to do that. Anyway, I moved to the Philippines because I like swimming and diving. You hear the weasel talk about me. He moved to the Philippines because how am I still living here if I'm broke? How did I pay hundreds of thousands of pesos for lawyers' fees and plans and permits and taxes for the materials built? How did I do that? Not hundreds of thousands. 25,000 for the plans, 25,000 for the permits, about 20,000 for the material taxes. That's 60,000, and then I did pay another 30,000 for lawyers, so 90,000 pesos to get the contract right. So how did I do all of that? And this chump, the little weasel, coward that he is. Oh, I went out and bought $40 paint. $40 paint? Here's your fucking $40 paint right here, asshole. In this little bag, fixed right, still stapled from yesterday. Hold on. Where did it go? Where did it go? In this little bag, hold on a minute. We got to get something straight now. In this little bag, we have 731 pesos, or well, that's about just $20 worth. I have some wire for some lights I'm going to put up behind me, and then I bought all of these little plugs, extra plugs, and male plugs, female plugs, terminal strips for equipment that I have that I want on my bench. More plugs. So this is 20 bucks. I mean, how can I buy all of this stuff if I'm broke? How can I do that? I'm not sure how I could do that. I did go to the doctors yesterday for my leg because it's healing, but I still want to see the woman doctor who's helped me the most, and she was not available yesterday. So, and the weasel, he's gonna lose his leg. What do you fucking care? What do you care? You just would care so you could make fun of me. And you won't do it to my face because you're a coward. You're a slimy, sleazy, yellow-bellied coward. That's what you are. So, this is 731 pesos. This is just for this. Then, we spent 1,200 pesos for medicine. So that's 2,000 pesos total. That's $40. And we got this is yesterday now. Where was the 1,700? What is this one here? Okay. This is 1,200 pesos for these meds here. 1,200. This week. It's not yesterday. This is a different one, but it's this week. 520. Yeah, 520. Okay. Then we have this one here. 700 pesos in food. So these two bills were 1,700, and 7 is 2,500 pesos, and 700 is 3,200 pesos. Just yesterday. This one here is 1,200 pesos more in food yesterday. So that's $5,000. That's $100. I bought. I bought something else that was. Last week I went and gave them 1,200 pesos for my water bill, so I wouldn't have to pay it for 3 years in advance. So this month I know I went through 44,000 pesos. Last month, 56,000 pesos. The month before, 40-something thousand pesos. When I bought the cement mixer that month, 75,000 pesos. 2 months ago, 130,000 pesos, because I bought the phone, right? The phone is 74,000 pesos. You can't get around that. And I bought another big ticket item that I don't talk about. So, how am I broke if I'm spending this money? This is because this fucking weasel, he just likes to hear himself talk, but he won't do it to my face. I dare you to fucking say this shit to my face. Get your fucking coward self together. Get it all together. When you come back from wherever you are, and show the world that you're not a coward, and that you'll say what you're going to say, that you said yesterday that I take shabu and shove it into my rectum, and that I do shabu, and that I protect the shabu dealers in my neighborhood. Come here and say that. You're the one starting all this shit, so I think you're the one who should come here. You're a coward, a yellow-bellied coward, a yellow-bellied, creepy little man that has nothing to do all day but bother other people's wives and girlfriends and threaten people. You don't threaten me. Your fucking bullshit doesn't threaten me. The fact that you say I do shabu, I tell you what, you little weasel bastard, I'll do blood tests. I'll give you hair analysis. I'll give you my hair that's 2 years old. And if they find any kind of fucking illegal drug in there, I'll give you my fucking bank book. You piece of garbage. You are a piece of shit. You are a real piece of shit telling people I do shabu on social media. Of course you'll say, well, my face wasn't. I don't give a fuck if your face is in the video or not in the video. I heard you say it. I recorded it. And it was taken down an hour after I recorded it. So I'm glad I got up in the middle of the night to listen to that bullshit that I do shabu and I shove shabu up my rectum to get high with it. But that was just fucking wonderful. You're going to pay one day for your insolence. You fucking coward. You are going to fucking pay for your insolence. Now, when you get back to the Philippines and you think that you're going to do this, that, and the other thing, you're going to have to hire a whole regiment, a bank of lawyers. It's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars. And you're going to lose anyway. You are such a fucking underachiever. You are just the epitome of low class you are the world's greatest underachiever. I've said it for years and I sincerely mean it. You are the world's greatest underachiever. You have never done anything significant in your entire life. I have taught by the numbers. Jet mechanic, I am. A&P licensed jet mechanic. Captain, tugboat, I am. Dock builder, foreman, I am. Crane operator, A license, I am. I owned my own cranes and barges and pile drivers. I own my own excavation companies. I own my own tree surgeons, they call it, or arborists company, landscaping companies, backhoes, bobcats, drill rigs, cranes on the land and the ocean. What the fuck have you ever owned? Seriously, what the fuck have you ever owned? Nothing. You never even owned a fucking car. You have a picture of a car. You don't have a picture of you driving it. You don't have a picture of the car in different places. You took a picture of somebody else's fucking car. Just like you took a picture of a boat. And that could be Alaska. I worked on that boat. You didn't work on no damn boat. You left for Alaska on a specific day and 6 days later you were back where you came from. So if you worked on a boat, you worked on there for one day and you couldn't cut the mustard, or the captain of the boat or the purveyor on the boat said, take a fucking walk. Frail man, take a walk. I spent more money this year. This year alone, I spent more money than you've spent in the last. Let me be clear on this. Let me think about it. I'm thinking. Fucking coward. Big mouth fucking rat. And you're a rat bastard on top of everything else. Well, let me think. 1 month it was what, 176,000 pesos, 200 another, 400,000 roughly. This month 40,000. So far the month's not over. That's 240,000. Well, I spent half a million pesos this year. $500,000. How am I broke? Now, I don't know what it might cost you. $10,000 a year for your bills, which I even doubt. So that's how much is that? $500,000 pesos. Well, that's just what I spent in the last 5 months. But before that, I spent on something, I spent more money than you spend in 2 years. So, not in the last year, but in the last 2 years. I spent more money than you spent in the last 5. You got a big mouth, nothing to back it up, and you've never backed up anything. I can do that. I take a fucking picture of a paintbrush. I'm a painter. The fucking idiot that taught you how to paint didn't know a fucking thing about painting. He told you could fill holes with toothpaste. The fucking idiot that taught you how to paint didn't even teach you how to back a brush. You don't even know what backing a brush is unless you watched one of my videos. The fucking idiot that taught you how to paint out of a paint can. No painter paints out of a paint can. Whoever taught you how to paint was a fucking idiot. And you follow his footsteps. That makes you a fucking idiot. Roman Suka. How you doing, Roman? I remember you. You were going to get in touch with me on Facebook, and you did. I know you did. And I never got back to you. You wanted to become a member of my Patreon account. No, I'm not on drugs. But if the fucking coward, the weasel, if you want to wager big fucking money and you get in the fucking ring with me, you fucking coward. Big money and you get in the fucking ring with me. Big money, wager that they don't find any drugs in my hair, and you get in the fucking ring with me, and we get to fucking fix them fucking teeth of yours. Proper. We get to fix them fucking teeth of yours. When I'm done, you'll have fucking brand new set of fucking teeth. Who could ask for more? Ultra Bright would be banging on your fucking door to come and say, would you be our new Ultra Bright model? Fucking coward. Saying I do fucking shabu. Motherfucker. If you said that to me in real life, conversation would be in terms of microseconds. And it wouldn't matter public, not public, fucking public building. Wouldn't make no difference. I don't like you. I never liked you. You're a fucking coward. You're a fucking weasel. Whoever taught you how to paint was a fucking idiot. Now you're a fucking idiot because you paint like they do. But you've never seen you paint. So we don't know what you can do. You've not shown us any work. You didn't go to the fucking Hawaiian Islands to blog Hawaii. You went to blog your fucking driveway. You've never shown us a fucking video, anything worthwhile in Hawaii. Nothing. And anything that was worthwhile, you destroyed it by talking shit about something or somebody in the video. You're a fucking loser, dude. 1 minute. I hear a friend of mine calling. Wapo! Gone. Okay. Anyway. Any video that you've ever fucking made, you destroyed by talking shit about somebody, somebody's wife, somebody's girlfriend, some bullshit story. How? Do you think anybody gives a flying shit when you meet them in a public park and you say hello to them and they say hello back? That should be the end of the conversation. Not you. Goddamn idiot. Hello. This is the idiot. This is the coward, what he does. This is what the coward does. Hello. And the other person says, hello back. And then the idiot goes on to his diatribe. Yeah, you know, I used to live here. I can't believe what happened to this beach. This used to go all the way out there and over there, and I used to come here with my dog, and who gives a fuck? They didn't ask you. They were obviously not interested, and you carried on with your diatribe for about 50 or 55 seconds to where they just walked away. They've heard enough. They didn't reconnoiter the information from you. They don't even want to know it. They're trying to enjoy the fucking beach, and you're sitting there telling them about your immigration problems in the Philippines. You're a fucking idiot. And whoever taught you how to paint was a fucking idiot. You don't paint out of a paint can. You don't paint like that. You don't put your brush. If you're going to paint one little thing, you could use the top of the can as like a palette, put a little bit on there and then clean the top of the can. You don't use the paint can for a container to hold paint. You just don't do that. And you call yourself a fucking, I learned from a painter. The guy who taught you how to paint was a fucking idiot. He didn't know anything about painting. Alrighty, so Scott Del Fuego wrecked him, damn near killed him. Wrecked him. Hey, Scott, are you up? I would like to say I have a funny story to tell you. Sensimo, thank you for stopping by. LaRue, thank you for stopping by as well. And especially Yakking Vet. I appreciated an intelligent conversation. I really did appreciate that was an intelligent conversation. You don't get a lot of those on YouTube. I wish you knew a little bit more about my background, how I grew up and who I grew up with, and who those people are today in this world. But I could tell you that the most corrupt person I ever met in my entire life, his name is Joel A. Mealy, M-I-E-L-E. If you're still here. He died. He died shortly after 9/11 too, from cancer. And he was the deputy mayor under Giuliani and the head of the Department of Environmental Protection Agency, where I got this hat from. Okay? And he spent months, I say months, overseeing the demolition at the World Trade Center and the excavation as the deputy mayor in charge of the Department of Environmental Protection. And this piece of shit, Joel A. Mealy, there's only a few articles with his name in it worldwide. This piece of lying shit politician, deputy mayor, said to the men on the job, there is nothing carcinogenic in the debris of the World Trade Center. Nothing. It's okay to go in there and dig like hell. And then all those tens of thousands of people that did the excavation died. Tens of thousands of people died. You don't hear about it. Thousands of firemen still have a case against them 19 fucking years later. The city won't settle the case. And this piece of shit, Joel A. Mealy, deputy mayor in New York City under Giuliani, knew he had an architectural firm, and he was the smartest man I ever met in my life, bar none. Nobody was ever smarter than Joe Mealy. Mensa, Sister Lana was Mensa, Sister Eleanor was Mensa, his son Joel was Mensa, his daughter Vida was Mensa, his daughter Janet was Mensa. The whole family, they were fucking geniuses. This lying piece of shit told the firefighters the day after the destruction of 9/11 that it was safe to go in there. He knew all along it was carcinogenic. He oversaw the project and died 6 years later. And when I asked him, because he lived 60 feet from my house in New York, when I asked him how the buildings fell, he said, oh, the planes hit them and the jet fuel that burns at 450 degrees melted 4-inch I-beams that was 42 inches in diameter. Yeah, oh yeah, that's really fucking believable. And I said to him, that's impossible. No, that's how it happened. And he walked away. Because that fucking piece of shit was part of the conspiracy of 9/11. And I said, and I've said it before and I've said it after, to everybody, you people are so stupid to believe that jet fuel burned 4-foot beams. Go, and you all have barbecues in your backyard with charcoal in them. Jet fuel burns at 450, atomized 800 tops. Charcoal burns at 1100 degrees. The charcoal grill you put your barbecued charcoal briquettes in is a 1/16 of an inch. And you put charcoal briquettes in there for 10 or 12 years. Does the bottom ever melt? No. You people have been brainwashed by these people that control this world. And they're evil sons of bitches. So, I grew up with the people that controlled New York City. Eventually, many of the people I grew up with were controlling New York City and the politics in New York. And these were the most corrupt people, including family members. The biggest scumbag of my entire family, politician. That's why I call him Scum-Fazio to this day. Scum-Fazio. Why I called him Scum-Fazio since I was 22 years old. But he was rich, and the family chose his side over me. Like you choose the slob over me. You choose to go to the slob and say, thumbs up, you're all fucking slobbies. Go, yeah, you're doing best channel on YouTube. You people are a bunch of garbage with arms and legs. The slob has money, so you congregate towards him. Harriet calls women, she's a woman, but she calls women pieces of meat, and that I'm jealous that the slob gets 3 or 4 fresh pieces of meat a week. You people are fucked up in the head. All right, well, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for watching. Please report this video to YouTube for whatever. I don't give a fuck. This is my channel, but I have no strikes on it, so have at it. And for the fucking weasel, again, I'm going to just say this one more time. My mother had more balls than you do. You are a fucking coward. You just keep running your fucking mouth. And that comment I heard yesterday, I shoved Shabu up his rectum. You piece of shit. You are going to pay for your insolence one day. Monetarily, of course. Okay, so I'll figure out what that number is one day, and I'll give you my exact location and my address, and you could send me a check. A check, so be welcome. Thanks for watching. Of course, I'm only kidding. The fucking coward is never going to give me any money. Even though he keeps day after day after day after day after day, he does everything in his power to get my channel knocked down. Because he's a fucking coward piece of shit. That's what he is. That's all he is. Coward. Yellow belly. Yellow. Did I forget to say yellow belly coward? All right then, ladies and gentlemen. Up for a bit. Okay, I'm going to be calling you. Roman. Okay, thanks, Roman. One day I'll get with you on Facebook. I only spend 6 minutes a month on Facebook. I say hello to 3 people. That's it. All right, bye-bye for now. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Big Permy, which, of course, you know means take care always, from Michael Fazio in the Philippines, baby. And don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and the local authorities, and tell them how pissed off I am about that piece of shit saying I shoved Shabu up my rectum. Tell them how upset I am. Tell them about that. Tell them they can have a hair sample anytime they want for big fucking money, you fucking coward. Bet me some big money. You got a big mouth, motherfucker. You got a big mouth. I just want to make everything right between you and your dentist and God. I'm Big Permy from Michael Fazio in the Philippines, baby. Bye-bye.